The salty squid, deep from the blackest pit. The salty squid, at a sword tip, forced to submit. The salty squid, deep from the blackest pit. The salty squid, at a sword tip, forced to submit to the salty squid.
Okay. What's going on, folks? For some reason my music just died. Everything is failing. But you know, that's pretty typical around these parts. Do you want to live now? Do you want to stay forever? Beautiful. There we go. Alright, I think we're cooking now. We know what we're doing, right, chat? Sometimes, a little bit. How's it going? I haven't streamed in a while. Here I am, once again. I had my computer guy, my tech guy, my guy in the chair, hook me up with some new stuff. So now, hopefully, things should be working well. But unfortunately, due to my inability to integrate my consciousness with the technology, I have no idea how to use it. So I keep fucking shit up. Also, I have to use a wired headset for the time being, because my old setup had Bluetooth, but apparently, according to my tech guy, my new upgraded system does not have any Bluetooth capabilities, which makes total sense to me. So I'm on the wired shit for a little bit, till I can get the little dongle that allows me to do Bluetooth. Which all of my headsets and devices are Bluetooth and not wired. So I had to go out and purchase this shitty little $11 headset. And we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work for this stream. I am going to be probably getting a higher quality headset though, because I'm like attached to the screen very tight. This is not ideal. Not ideal. But we're here anyway. We're here. Hey, how's it going? I missed you. Let's get some Red Bull in me. I worked a extra emergency shift today to cover for somebody, so I worked a long day today. Need my Red Bull to get this stream started for sure. That's good shit. You know, when you don't drink Red Bull regularly, it actually does what it's supposed to do and gives you the energy that you need. So it's nice if you use it every once in a while, but definitely don't drink that shit on the regular. It's horrible for you. Alright, so what are we doing today? Today we've got lots of fun things, mostly catching up on the chaos that has been going down in these here United States of America. But before we get to all that sadness shit, we, you know, Dispel once came on here and said, "Salty, do you ever stream about things that make you happy, or is it just things that make you salty and vinegary all the time?" Well, you know, that's a good point, Dispel. I can't argue with that. We're gonna wait. I sound like I'm in a fish tank. Oh no. Oh God. Hold on. You know, Duckbringer, I checked the stream on my phone and I sound pretty good. My wife also says that she does not hear that, so that might be a reception issue. That might be you. But if you like the fish tank vibe, cool. I mean, it goes with the salty squidness. As you can see, I've added up in that corner a little mask of my squid. Working on putting some sunglasses on the inside of that and gluing it so that, you know, I can have some anonymity when I'm out in the streets if I want to. It's got a little navy cap on there. It's pretty cute. Matches my avatar, which will soon be going away because in exciting news, I have commissioned with a local artist to update my avatar. So that'll be changing soon. It'll still be a squid, same idea, just something a little different. So, on the docket first, because I don't want to depress you all completely. I mean, I'm going to depress you a little bit. I can't help it. I'm a fucking doomer. But, you know, maybe we can inoculate you with some silly animal funness before we start with the bullshit. This is Marsupial Meditation by Miss Emmy Pearl. I love her. She's the greatest. Let's see what she's got for us this time. This is a new upload a couple days ago.
Well, hello. Is your spiritual life stalled? Are you lacking traction to become one with all that is? Well, your answer is right here. Proper opossum prayer and meditation. You've all heard about possums playing dead? They're not playing dead. They're communing with the divine. And so can you. As with so many mystics before them, possums require some trauma great enough to shatter their ego. And possums have formidable egos in order to propel them into ecstasy. That's right. As Rumi says, where there is ruin, there is hope of treasure. Rumi also says, you have to keep breaking your heart until it opens. And then Rumi also said, sometimes love wants to do us a favor, hold us upside down and shake all the nonsense out. Well, I could traumatize these babies right now into a state of bliss. But I would be accused of marsupial abuse, so I'm not going to do that again. No, these little ones are destined to live out their days ignorant of nirvana. Ah, well, give 'em a grape. But you can aspire to
Those
oneness.
poor bastards.
Have courage. Run into that fire. Leap off that cliff. Publicly state that political opinion. All will end in tragedy. And then be transformed into transcendence. Until next time, bye. Bye-bye.
You know, she's usually more magical than that. That was not her best work right there, but it's okay. I appreciated the little fire at the end, little get a little spark under your butt.
The cliff
I'm here for
marks
it.
A new
But
era in pig racing.
now we're gonna be enjoying something else. I haven't fully watched this video because I didn't want to ruin it. This is pig racing. And it's my new favorite thing.
And it's easily the most dangerous and difficult track the pigs have ever faced. The last 11 seasons has shown us that these pigs are fast.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, chat. This first one, not that great. It's just a short hill. But the next couple races, they start to actually pick up some interesting obstacles.
Lightning fast, but can lightning ascend? And Barry's gonna win, yes she does, and holy moly! The transformation of Bear in this forest is so complete.
Look at him go!
This is everything else. And that's insane! That's absolutely insane! If you feel a wave of fear, I beg you, please do not be afraid, for you are merely trying to process the impossible.
Let's go! Let's go! Brought to you by fucking DraftKings, baby!
Hello and welcome to Season 12, a season that will be known for its vertical racing. And I can tell you now, I have never seen the pigs look so tired as when they've summited these cliff races. It doesn't help that they stuff their faces the moment they get to the top.
You leave them
but then
alone.
Again, we have kind of designed it that way.
That's what they're
so I
supposed to do.
We can't really blame them. Also, this season I will announce how many seasons we have left until the pigs stop racing. But for now, let us get a reminder of the overall standings as we head into the season. Bear's latest victory means that both her
Let's go, Bear Trotsky. Doing it for the fucking leftists. No, I'm just kidding. Trotsky was horrible. Piggy Smalls, great name. Hoshi Oinku, Ginger Hamilton, and Pepper Sanchez. I think Hoshi Oinku? I think they might have a good chance of coming up on that third championship.
and Piggy Smalls are the closest to becoming the greatest pig that has ever lived. But there is still time for Hoshi and Ginger to make their moves. And if you believe in miracles, maybe
I do.
even Little Pepper.
I believe
For now,
in piggy miracles.
Let us begin with the first cliff race ever.
And the fucking murals, dude, they're so good.
And it's Pepper who has the
Oh
best
my
start.
God.
In fact, she may win the maiden race of season 12. Piggy Smalls challenging, and he's going to do it as he crosses the line.
Let's go,
he
Piggy.
Performs the best on that final section.
Yeah,
of
see
the
that
course.
one, not
It's
that
enough for him
exciting,
to seal the
but
first
it
race
picks
of
up with
season 12.
intensity, I think.
So much to unpack here. First of all, you'll notice that we cannot get a cameraman running by the side of the track. It's simply not possible in this gradient. So we have to rely on multiple camera angles to show the full race.
No
And in
cameraman
7
could run up
seconds,
that
this is
hill.
the
It's
shortest
impossible.
track
But the
that we've
pigs
ever seen
can
here in the
do
League
it.
of Pigs, and it's for many reasons. One, the hill doesn't go on anymore, so there's a physical limitation there. And second of all, this hill is still many, many, many times more than the pig's height. But right now, it's just sheer excitement, and Pepper in second place. Will that last? Probably not, but who knows? Now, there is another radically different track this season, and it's one that we've not mentioned so far. We call it the Bale Run, and it's one of my favourite tracks.
Yes,
But
let's
at
go,
the
Bale
surface
Run.
level, it all seems a bit pedestrian, doesn't
God damn,
it?
they're cute.
It's just a bunch of bales pushed together. What could go wrong? Well, that was the attitude we had when we built the course. In fact, it was only really designed to spice up a sprint race. But what we didn't realise at the time is when you push these bales together, there are
Look how
always
cute Ginger
gaps
is.
between
I
them.
love her.
And those gaps
She's the
are
best.
very easy for the pigs to slip
As a
down,
fellow ginger
causing
beard, you know,
no end of
I
chaos.
can take some
In fact,
appreciation in
so
here.
much chaos came from these bale runs that we had to stop them prematurely, just to increase the safety for the pigs. But there are enough races to show this season, and in fact we get to see the pigs do the bale run for the very first time, and we get to see that right now.
Listen, I've been devoid of pig races. We don't get to see another pig race until November, so I had to, supplement my diet.
It's the first bale race, and what will it give us? Well, it gives us the same result.
Come
as
on,
Bear
Piggy
comes
Smalls.
storming out the box, just like she did
Hoshi
for the whole of last
Oinku,
season.
I
Looking
believe in
very
you.
strong, but said that causes a huge pile-up, and Hoshi, the only one to take the near side of the track, is rewarded with first place. And we
Let's
are watching pigs cross the
go!
line at completely different times.
Hoshi's our
What a
girl!
mad race we've just witnessed. Piggy Smalls nearly falls off the track, and he has to use all of his upper body strength to stay on the bales. And the only pig to run this race
This
the
is
way
the greatest
course
sport
makers
ever invented.
expect
What are you talking
was
about,
Pepper,
babe?
who just simply jumped on the bales and overtook both Piggy Smalls and Ginger for third place. All the other pigs were
Look,
very
that is
suspicious
peak
of these
pig
bales and chose firm ground
physique,
to the
and
very
you
last
just have to
minute.
accept
And
it.
to be honest with you, I don't blame them. Their intuition may be correct, as these soft bales look a lot trickier than I first suspected. And Pepper Sanchez 1 point off first place. What a topsy-turvy world we live in. We return to the woodland, and
Ooh.
Ginger comes out with a bang, and she
Let's go,
continues
Ginger.
that momentum as they go down the hill. Piggy Smalls
yeah.
also does a good job
Oh,
of
she's got
overtaking
it.
two
She's
pigs on
amazing.
the descent. Ginger, though, has a commanding lead.
Look
as
at her
they go
go.
past the halfway point, and there's chicanes. That's a new addition.
Oh
to the
my
circle
God,
track.
she is
But it hasn't
the
made much
definition
difference
of
right now, as
swift.
Ginger's pace is very high. Piggy Smalls tries to
Aerodynamic.
go on the inside, but the pace of Ginger is too much, and she sweeps 10 points in the first woodland track race of this season. Hoshi Oinku
Wow.
claims 7
We got our
points.
money on
He did a
Ginger
good
now. I'm
performance.
sorry,
He
Hoshi,
never
but
really
Ginger,
looked like he was gonna challenge
she's
Ginger
something
on this
different,
course,
man. That's
and
a
was
unicorn of a
content
runner
sticking
right there.
Behind her. Bear is the only
That's the
one
Usain
dropping
Bolt
away
of
from
pigs.
the others, and we don't really want to see her revert back to type. She did such a good performance last season. Let's hope it continues. Yes, we're only 3 races in. We can't make too much of it, but we need to see something from her this round. We are right next to the cliff track, and we've constructed a walkway that goes round the edge of the cliff track. This has a smaller incline, but don't get me wrong, it's still very steep, and we've had multiple incidents of staff members slipping down here. That said, the pigs find it easier because they are on all fours, they have a low centre of gravity, and their trotters do dig into the soil really well. We still don't want them to go down the cliff track because we just think it's simply too steep, so we do encourage them to use this walkway. Hoshi thinks about going a bit off-piste as he normally does, but as he surveys a nearly vertical drop, he decides that actually maybe I should use the walkway provided. And he's absolutely right. If he goes a few more inches forward, he would tumble down that slope and nothing would stop him. And also, while we've got them here, it's a good reminder of just how slow the pigs go. It's very easy to think they have some haste when you watch them go from the starting box to the finish line in just a few seconds. But that is only because they've got highly calorific treats at the end of the track. Remove those treats and the pace of these pigs slows down dramatically. In fact, from the moment their trotters hit this forest floor, they are foraging and they never stop the entire time.
The Britishness of this is also amazing.
They spend most of their life in the paddock and piggy heaven.
They're so quaint, they're like hobbits.
Fantastic places for a pig to live, but we all like exploring new areas, especially areas that are as interesting as this with all the slopes, gradients, new trees and foliage. It's a haven for pigs. And so they will do everything in their power to stay down here as long as possible. And if that means going in different directions or stopping at every chance they get, they will do just that. We're back to the bale run
I'd
again.
put that one on my
Piggy
fucking
Smalls
wall.
That's done him
That one was
no
beautiful.
favours here. Bear out in front as she always is in these forest
Go
races,
Ginger,
but
go
she hasn't
Ginger,
learnt from
go
last time.
Ginger.
She falls off at the back there.
Let's go, Ginger!
With a massive fall as well. Two huge crashes as Hoshi does not
Look at her,
commit
look
to
at her.
jumping on that
Oh, get out of the way,
clearly.
stupid. Ginger's coming
It's
through.
just unfortunate, but the way
Woo-hoo!
he goes under his body is kind of hard to watch, actually. Thank God these pigs are as tough as old boots.
Oh,
And kudos to Piggy
oh.
Smalls as he recovers surprisingly
Piggy Smalls,
quickly.
poor leg.
Hoshi does
You gotta be
take
careful
a big
out there,
fall
brother.
on those bales, and I think
don't wanna
the race
tear something.
photographer's got some pictures as well. Yes, he has.
Oh.
This bale run is a cruel mistress indeed, causing problems left, right and centre. It's fantastic for the spectators.
Maybe take
It's,
that pig
well,
out for the day.
Less
I don't
so
know.
for the pigs. The door drops and all the pigs get a roughly
Go,
even
Ginger!
start, but Piggy Smalls is
Go!
not. So is Bear as she takes the inside line. It's so rare to see Bear out in front on a woodland track. However, Piggy Smalls looks like he's taking
no.
over and he's poking out in
Oh,
front.
no.
He almost never
A girl
loses the
Ginger.
lead and he's going to challenge.
boy
but
Ginger?
Bear is
A
still
girl
staying with
Ginger?
him. In fact, she looks like she's challenging him on the uphill. He's going to get the inside line, but Bear will take it. And she sets a record on this
Did you get
oval
third?
track.
We can
I
deal
have
with
seen
third.
so
I think that'll
many
give us
oval
enough
track
points
races,
to
and
still
I cannot
win.
describe to you just how rare
Ginger's
it
at
is
31.
to see
Okay,
Piggy Smalls
let's
lose
go.
the lead on
We're
the
still in the
oval
lead,
track.
folks. We're still in the
Rare
lead.
is still to Bear, and it's an incredibly
I got my
interesting
money on
race as
Ginger.
we
I'm
reach
betting the whole
halfway
house on
point.
Ginger.
Bear Trotsky sets a record. We saw her do it last video in the finals, but that is still so rare. And Piggy Smalls gets second. Interesting to see that he's not winning all of the oval track races this season. Do all roads lead to Pepper? Well, in a racing sense, no. In fact, you could say that no roads lead to Pepper. And it raises the question, if a small pig races in a forest and comes last, did
Oh,
it
poor
even
Pepper.
race? That's a different question for another time, maybe. But what Pepper does have, and she has it in spades, is that she's cute. Now that doesn't seem very impactful upon first hearing, but if you really think about it, we all know how powerful being cute is.
True.
You don't earn it and it's not deserved. You're either born with it or you're not. And in Pepper's case, she's been endowed with so much of it that it's hard to think of a cuter pig.
I'm a cute
And it means
supremacist, and
that
I'm
she'll
not
be
afraid to
popular
admit it.
regardless of what she does.
Aesthetics
It's the
are
second
everything, okay?
quick race, and it's Bear and Pepper leading it out. In fact, Bear is ahead of everybody else by quite some margin.
Substance has
it's gonna be
failed
under
us.
7 seconds, and it's over half a second quicker than the previous time, which is a
Ginger.
substantial difference
What
given
are you
how
doing?
short this track is.
Oh my
The
god,
two
she's in third
lightest
now.
pigs finding it the easiest to scramble up this track.
Okay,
And
chat,
it
we're gonna have
feels
to make
like
some new
forever
bets,
since we've
figure
seen
out
a
if we can
result like
recover
this,
any money.
with Bear and Pepper taking the top 2 positions.
I love
mean, if
Ginger's.
I was to have
Look
a
at her.
guess, the
She
last
can't even get
time
to
I
the
witnessed
food. Come
something
on,
like
get
that
your shit
would be
together,
maybe
Ginger.
Season 3, know it's just a little pig video, but there comes a point where you think, how small of an amount can I give the creative just to make some original content for the internet? Do I like that cause? Well, I'm here, so I kind of do already, right? I mean, I've already voted with my time, which I would argue is more precious than the money in the first place. So instead of resisting this advert, why don't you just for 1 second, because I'm leveling with you, think, yeah, I like what that guy said. Maybe I can afford a pig-themed t-shirt.
Bro, I need a pig-themed t-shirt. I need to get me a Ginger shirt. Look at her flying through the air. That's so goddamn majestic. Oh my god.
But now I'm starting to get on board with this argument. I like the cut of this guy's jib. He's just ranting into a microphone trying to be honest. I like that.
Sell me something, sir. Come on, I'm an American. I'm a dirty slop consumer. Sell me something. I am your target audience.
Off you go. Clickety click, bitey bye.
Oh man, I might just do that.
It's the downhill woodland track, and it's Pepper who gets the best start, but she's
Let's go, Ginger!
To take over. Though both the boys are still with her here as they get.
Oh my God, no!
It's going to be a close
go,
one.
go, 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 go!
Who takes it at the line?
It's going to be by a nose.
Smalls who does just that, and he puts himself.
Can we have a photo finish? Can we get a lineup?
He's always so good at those final few feet. Ginger definitely had the best middle
Ginger
section,
got cheated, bro. Okay, here we go. No, she didn't. All right, it's fair and square. The man gave me what I asked for.
Awful start at the beginning.
Fuck.
Just walking, and it kills her chances. Moments ago, she was leading this competition, and now she falls right back.
Ginger. I think there's still time to recover.
The wrong way, but it doesn't stop her from being in the lead. Two pigs as both of them battle for pole position. Hoshi managing to wrestle that pole off better, but Piggy Smalls with a supreme
Ginger
back, and that will definitely be the moment of this
race.
It
was too short. She was coming up from behind. I saw it.
Race and is rewarded. But look at Piggy Smalls at the back. He is fighting for third place. There's only 2 points at stake. It's not about the points for him, though. It's about making a statement, and what a statement he makes. He's all class as he refuses to get in line and just overtakes Ginger with a superb bail jump. Piggy Smalls' starts in this forest are far from perfect, but he can jump these bales blindfolded, and he yet again gives us all another masterclass on how to do these bales. Well, if it isn't the reigning champion of the League of Pigs, Bear Trotsky, and she is on a high from her victory last season, and of course normally that means that she'd be the favourite for the next season. And certainly, she is a strong contender. That said, this cliff racetrack has changed the dynamic of the races completely. It's not only about the fastest pig anymore, it's about the pig with the most power. And Bear isn't exactly the biggest of the 5. That said, she definitely has the lightest frame, she's the thinnest of the 5, and maybe the fact that she's so light will be a massive advantage going uphill. Pigs like Hoshi and Piggy Smalls, while much heavier than Bear, also have a lot of muscle. And they may well just try and use their brute strength to get the upper hand on this slope. And while Bear is slowly meandering up this cliff, it's worth mentioning just how steep it is. Cameras do a terrible job at picking up the true gradient, but I can assure you this slope is near vertical. It's so steep, in fact, only the most physically fit and nimble staff members can get up this slope. Everybody else has to go up the long way round. So to expect these 5 pigs to not only be able to get up the slope, but do so quickly,
you sure about that?
Is a mammoth ask.
You sure about that?
As the door drops down, it's Bear who's the only pig to get a good start. Everyone else seems a bit sluggish, but that sluggishness soon stops as Ginger overtakes Pepper, and now she's
go, Ginger! Come on, yes! It's a fucking girl!
From the rear, and as they round this corner,
oh my God, I love her. Go, go, go!
They go round the chicanes. And
she is the wind. She is speed.
Now, and it's Ginger out in front.
Fuck off, Piggy.
Challenging on the inside of the corner. Who's going to get it? It's Ginger who claims the win on this.
Yes!
Both pigs putting an impressive performance, it has to be said, as they come from behind and overtake the other 3. Piggy Smalls is still strong on this oval track, but he still isn't.
Ginger is in second.
Okay. The points are quite level between the pigs.
How many races do we have left? Maybe 1, 2. She's still got a chance, folks. She's still got a chance. It's not over.
Really have any teeth in this either.
I believe.
Relying on the forest races, it seems. And Pepper, well, that's just Pepper. It's the most meaningful part of the show. It has to be, because the individuals, couples and families on the screen right now are the very reason we exist.
Hey.
Viewers, when you're watching, you must be thinking at times,
a cute shout out.
What an era to live in. where we can go onto the internet and for free watch the greatest animal show on the planet.
You're
it
not
almost
wrong.
feels too easy. Well, it feels that way because of a devout set of people. People that love the show so dearly that they will support every single month. Piggy Smalls doesn't like to stay still for very long, but he will stay still and he'll sit exactly where he is because even he understands how important these people are. Thank you so much to every single patron. None of this is possible without you. You are responsible for the art, for the music, and so much more in this show. And all of the pigs extend huge hugs to all of you. It's the final race of round
One
one.
race,
It's
let's
Hoshi
go.
back.
Ginger, go, go, go.
For pole position.
Come on.
Hoshi taking
No.
pole around the chicanes.
Come on,
And
you
he
can
does
do
a
it.
good job
You can
of
do
those
it.
hurdles as well. The battle for second
Oh,
place.
you can do it.
More
No.
interesting is best Ginger once again in this forest. If we
Ginger.
look at the replay, I've got to say, Hoshi is quite
You really
hypnotic
let me
as he
down
goes
on
over
that
those
last
hurdles.
one.
He does the minimum amount of effort. His chin is scraping the first bale. He barely manages to get over it. But at the same time, makes it all look so easy. And the race for second between Bear and Ginger was back and
Well,
forth, with Bear going
I'm gonna have to
slightly
sell the
quicker
house,
over the final few feet.
and move into the
interestingly,
woods, I
Piggy
think,
Smalls is the only
because
one
I
to not
bet
really
everything
have
on
a
Ginger.
great race, as he has a bit of a mare on that final bale. And he
I have a
doesn't
gambling
really get
addiction, Chad,
into
I'm
it.
sorry.
Bear has certainly not lost all of her
When it comes
spark
to
from the
pig
previous
races,
season,
I can't
so
control
it's
myself.
going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out next round. And my, doesn't
There's
this
nothing
season
against
look
my
just as
adrenaline
close
running.
as the last one?
Like a good pig race
60,
with money on the line.
57, 56, 55. What do they all have in common? Well,
Ginger came in
numerically,
second. She
they're
was only
extremely
3 points
close to
off.
each
That's
other.
strong.
What does that mean in the
It's a
context
strong
of pig
showing,
racing?
Ginger. I'm
That
proud
means
of
that
you.
This season is going to be amazing, of course. Even Pepper on 32. That pig sometimes finishes with less than half
Piggy
of those points.
Smalls is our
So relatively
freaking
speaking,
nemesis.
Even that little senorita's got some fire in the belly. Round one asking
What's
more
up, Diz?
questions than it answers. The cliff
Sorry if
races,
that's
what's better?
way too loud.
Strength or lightness?
I don't
We
know.
still
Am I
don't
yelling?
really know.
I can
That
turn it
bale
down.
run looks tricky. Which pig's got the best measure of it? Again,
I'm yelling,
not really
peeking.
sure.
Let me
And
know.
so it's setting us up for an interesting middle round.
There we go.
And
That-
one
that
last
should be
thing,
good.
if you want to stay connected with us, please join our Discord or email list. The links are in the description of this video. And that's all I've got to say. Oh, one last thing actually. Thank you all so much, you beautiful viewers. And we'll see
Hell
you
yeah.
back here for round two.
You will see me back here for round 2. So that was great. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. That was way more fulfilling than the marsupials video was. Unfortunately, our marsupial lady let us down this time. But the pigs, that was great. I fully enjoyed that. I'm coming back for more. I love this channel. League of Pigs. Why am I not already subscribed? That doesn't make sense. Oh, because I'm on a different YouTube than my normal YouTube. Okay, so yeah, next is just the sad and depressing shit. So let's get to it. Since the last time I streamed, a couple people were executed in the streets by the state. So that was wild. One of them, an ICU VA nurse, which strikes pretty close to home for me, being a veteran that relies on VA nurses. Like that could have been me out at a protest. It's pretty scary. So we're gonna just watch a few things about that. If you want to stay
I know
and
all of
hear
us
that,
have seen
that'd be great. If you've already heard enough about Alex Preddy, I totally understand.
the videos of what is basically the execution of Alex Preddy. I've seen it from more angles and more times than I care to repeat. I'm not going to give an in-depth frame-by-frame analysis. You don't need a lawyer to tell you what you can see with your own eyes, which is that it was an inexcusable state-sanctioned murder. There is no excuse. There is no justification, and it is the latest in what is probably a long line. This one happens to have been videotaped, thankfully, by many brave bystanders. As you can tell, I'm not in my studio. I was on a plane yesterday. Oh God, it's cold out here. It's 0 degrees, which is still 10 degrees warmer than it is in Minneapolis right now.
Yeah, dude sounds like he's about to cry. But I think it's just because he's cold as fuck. Yeah, people are out in the streets protesting in like negative fucking weather. That's crazy. Bless your hearts. It ain't that cold over here. But the Alex Preddy shit is absolutely insane, and the fact that the officers have yet to be indicted, arrested, reprimanded. I guess they were suspended, but there needs to be charges, and it seems like the government is very much in the favor of like putting the evidence under the table and trying to make this something that's going to go away, and it's not going to go away. Hopefully the state has access to all the evidence as well so they can bring their own charges. But they shuffled, oh no, that's right, they didn't suspend him. They shuffled him out of state. They took him to a different state, which is wild. You can't just evade criminal charges by moving states. So we'll see what happens there. But the fact that the ICE Gestapo that Trump has unleashed on us is killing people in the streets in the first place is pretty fucking wild. I mean, we've all seen both the videos of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. I think it's fair to say both of those killings were completely unjustifiable. They weren't doing anything that warranted the amount of aggression they received from ICE or any other immigration enforcement officer. And it's really fucking scary for this country. I don't understand where the right is right now with their 2A love and all that shit. I mean, this is a guy that was carrying his weapon legally. He had a concealed carry. He was doing everything that he was supposed to do. He didn't agitate the police officers and get into a fight with them. I get he kicked their bumper, but that was a different occasion. I don't know if he had his gun on him at the time. In this case, he did not kick the bumper of anybody. He was helping somebody up off the ground that got pushed down by ICE and got into a scuffle. And then they disarmed him and shot him and killed him, which, you know, should never happen in this country. I think that should be pretty basic and easy for all of us to say. But if there's no consequences for the people that did it, I mean, if there's no consequences for the people in government right now, like Pam Bondi, that are doing crazy shit, it's going to tear this country apart. I mean, how do you expect people to believe in the rule of law when those at the top are not accountable to it? We can't have a two-tier justice system. It just isn't going to work. And I know that functionally we do right now, but if you just say that out blatantly to people, it's going to go really poorly for you.
No, but in some sense, I do this for a living. I analyze the videos that are out there and think about things from a legal perspective. And, you know, I saw the first video when it came out. It was pretty clear. But, you know, with any video taken from across the street, there's some ambiguity. And I think the second video came out. In the second video, you can hear that Alex Preddy's last words were, "Are you okay?"
Oh, never mind. He is crying.
Which he said to
all power to him.
The woman that was next to him, who had been pushed down by the ICE or CBP officer who was acting unhinged, where Alex Preddy just has his phone out and his left arm is free. I think those words last.
I don't know when in America it became illegal to have a gun at a protest. I'm not going to do it. I don't think that's smart, because you're just inviting the psychotic state to do shit outside of their power. Like, you don't bring a gun to a protest. You bring a gun when it's time to bring a gun. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't have the legal right to do that. He wasn't being violent. He wasn't threatening anybody or brandishing the weapon. He just had it on his hip for his own defense and protection should he need it, which is well within his legal rights, especially with a concealed carry. I don't know the exact gun laws around that area in Minneapolis, but I assume based on what's happened and what I've heard from other people that it was okay to carry his gun. If that's wrong, somebody please correct me. But this should scare everybody. This should scare veterans who love their guns. This should scare all of people on the right who love their guns, who don't want restrictions on them, who believe in the Second Amendment, which, I don't know. The fucking government's got weapons that we can't even dream of, so the Second Amendment is not going to protect us should the government decide to just wreck shit. But hopefully the fact that there's so many guns and so many people across the United States spread out, it would be difficult for any one entity to control or harass them all. But that being said, don't take your gun to a fucking protest. I don't know. Because if you're Rittenhouse and you shoot somebody and kill them, you'll get away with it. And if you're Alex Preddy, you'll get executed by the state. And none of it makes sense, and there's no reasoning for it. But it doesn't matter. They're going to do it anyway.
Words, and I think those were his last acts, was trying to help the woman that was pushed down by the man in the green sweatshirt, who I think eventually was the first agent who shot him. And like I said, I'm not going to go frame by frame, but to my eyes, you know, the last thing that Alex Preddy did was to help others. And look, my legal analysis doesn't change when the victim is, you know, a bank robber or a saint. Everyone deserves the same rights. And it doesn't justify or justify less the actions of what happened, but it does heighten the loss of what happened and the people whose rights are being taken away and their lives are being taken away. So look, I'm gonna try and gather some thoughts, which I'm only going to do because I think a lot of people are, you know, thinking the same thing. Whether you're a lawyer or a layperson, I think we're all absolutely enraged, not only by, you know, the loss of Alex Preddy, but Renee Good and everyone else who has been, you know, pushed aside and has been caught in this web of what is clearly illegal action from our federal government. Like I said, it doesn't change the legal analysis, but it does say something that Alex Preddy and Renee Good before him seem to be the best of us. And there's a reason why they were gunned down. It's because they put themselves out there. And by God, that's commendable. And we need to continue to stand up because they did too. And look, you don't need to be a lawyer to know that their shootings were not justified. But I think we need to take a step back too to recognize that, you know, ICE and CBP shouldn't have been there in the first place. They have no right and no duty to do crowd control, to be on the front lines using weapons against protesters. These people should not be armed. We've sort of grown inured to it, but they are not enforcing criminal law. Even when they are enforcing immigration laws, which they are not right now, it is state-sponsored protest control of people exercising their First Amendment rights. At best, they are enforcing regulatory and civil laws. And there's no reason they should have firearms in the first place. I don't even think should have less lethals like pepper balls, and they shouldn't be using tear gas and pepper spray and bear spray on protesters. That's insane. It would be as if we gave every postal worker and every person who delivers the mail, you know, an AR-15. They don't need it to complete their duties, and it's insane that they have been armed and are wearing flak jackets and are obviously wearing masks for no other reason than to obscure their identity and prevent accountability. Obviously, the shootings are unjustified, but the entire situation that recently Alex Preddy unfortunately found himself in, and the woman next to him, they should not have been pushed aside by these putative federal officers for exercising their First Amendment rights. They should not have been restrained. They should not have been pepper sprayed while they were restrained. And of course,
I mean, this is just evidence number 1,623 that Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about the Constitution. So I don't understand how he's got any fans left. I thought those motherfuckers loved the Constitution and loved the Founding Fathers and wanted to get back to Federalist type fucking politics. What happened? Did you all just decide that you don't like the Constitution anymore and you actually want an authoritarian dictator whose boot you can lick and call daddy, who's going to run out the back door with all the money? I don't understand the disrespect for the Constitution, but I don't know. It is a flawed document. If you all want to change it, let's change it. But to just decide one day that we're not going to abide by it, you're going to fuck the whole country up. You're going to piss a lot of people off. It's not going to turn out how you think it's going to turn out. And not to mention, you're fucking losing in court all over the place. Pam Bondi, all those people are getting laughed out of court. So it's not working great. I don't think the guardrails are going to save us, but at least some of them are bouncing this fucking road rage vehicle back onto the fucking center line, you know?
They should not have been shot and murdered while they were prone and restrained. None of that. The entire situation should not have happened. 3,000 ICE and CBP officers should not have been deployed to Minneapolis in the first place. I will echo what some legal commentators have said. This is basically stochastic terrorism. If you send 3,000 untrained psychopaths with guns into a place where people are angry, where they are not...
Yeah, Trump wants to fucking say Antifa is a domestic terror organization. Antifa isn't even an organization. It's just a fucking ideology. We should all be Antifa. We should all be anti-fascist. It's what this country was fucking doing back in World War II, is fighting fascism. Your grandpa hates fascists. Or he did. Now, apparently, he fucking loves them. I don't know. Yeah, the ICE is a domestic terror organization at this point, and it needs to be abolished completely. And any fucking Democrat that thinks they're gonna run needs to have that agenda, needs to get rid of fucking ICE. It's not that old of an organization. It was created after 9/11. We don't fucking need it. We need to gut it and create some other form of accountable immigration enforcement mechanism that does not fucking shoot our citizens in the street or pepper spray babies.
Effectuating the law. You don't know who's going to die, but you know that people are going to die. And I think that President Trump and I think that Stephen Miller have blood on their hands, because this is what they wanted. It's honestly incredible that the people of Minneapolis and Minnesota have shown as much restraint as they have, and that they have not taken the bait, and they have not responded to violence with violence. And that's incredible.
And just to clarify, the pepper spray babies comment is about them shooting tear gas and fucking pepper balls into crowds where children are present because parents brought their children to a protest, which is neither here or there. I'm not a parent, so I don't know.
Deserves commendation. Not the least of which...
Don't bring your fucking
to
dog to a protest, Hassan, you piece of shit.
It's going to come to other cities, predominantly blue and majority Democrat.
That shit pissed me off. Not only did we have fucking shot collar gate or whatever happened there, but then he brings his fucking dog out to him to a protest. What if those psychopaths start shooting off tear gas? I don't want Kaya getting fucking hit by a pepper ball. The fuck? That's not cool, man. That is not... They're not gonna respect you or see your dog and be like, oh, no, they're gonna shoot pepper balls at your dog because they're psychopaths and they are run by Kristi Noem. So, you know.
Democratic cities, because what ICE and CBP are doing is a terror campaign. It is a pretext that they are effectuating anything related to immigration at this point. And also, I will point out that there are a lot of people doing a lot of good. There are a lot of lawyers working overtime. Right after this happened, lawyers who had already received a temporary restraining order saying that ICE could not employ unconstitutional methods to restrain and punish all of the protesters, filed a emergency motion with the Court of Appeals to lift an administrative stay that was put in place, which is a thing that often happens. And it's insane that they would need a TRO in the first place to restrain these people en masse from conducting unconstitutional raids and unconstitutional methods. But the declarations from people who were on the scene and saw Alex Preddy shot with their own eyes. It's crazy that lawyers would respond within a few hours and get that in front of a judge. It's also, there was some parallel litigation from the Minnesota Bureau in charge of the investigation that was stymied by ICE, which is another thing for another day. Within a few hours, they had a motion in front of a judge seeking a temporary restraining order to prevent ICE from destroying evidence because they already mucked up the crime scene. The declarations and affidavits from people in support of that are also incredible. And another incredible thing that is within 2 hours, a Trump-appointed judge granted the TRO, and these are not perfect mechanisms. It's something that in the past has helped to prevent ICE from destroying evidence, which I think they did in the case of Jonathan Ross when they took all of the stuff out of his house and put it God knows where. It probably goes without saying, but it's unfortunate and it's crazy that we cannot trust federal officers in the first place, but we also cannot trust them to investigate. There are also things that Congress can and should do immediately. Obviously, they should not fund ICE in the future, but that's the table stakes. We need to.
I mean, we got that much. DHS, they stopped funding and the government's going to shut down over it, which, it is what it is. DHS is still going to be able to function. They have plenty of other mechanisms to use money that doesn't involve that. So they're still going to be doing their thing. They're still going to be doing raids, but at least it's something. At least it's not giving them more money. It may not be a positive, but at least it's not a negative,
To have serious curtailment of the immunity that exists. Federal officers do not have absolute immunity, but they do have strong immunity, and it is incredibly difficult to sue the federal government when you have had your constitutional rights deprived. Obviously, there's qualified immunity on a state level when state actors do that. It would be unbelievably easy for Congress to amend the current laws to provide a right of action for people to be able to sue, to remove qualified immunity unnecessarily, and to prevent all this stuff in the future.
But are they going to do that?
The current framework for immunity for people who commit heinous crimes like these.
No, probably not.
I think it's untenable and it's disgusting. And then, of course, the people who are responsible for this at the very top need to be impeached. This is an impeachable offense. Like I said, I truly believe that this is, or some version of this is exactly what Donald Trump and Stephen Miller wanted. And in some sense, they have gotten what they wanted. And now it's time for them to be removed from office because they are absolutely unfit from top to bottom. It needs to be removed root and stem. And if you thought it couldn't get any more craven than it is, within hours of Alex Preddy's shooting, Pam Bondi sent a letter to Governor Tim Walz saying that if they would turn over voter information, then they would withdraw ICE from Minneapolis. So
that shit actually does scare me, is what they're trying to do with all the voter stuff in Georgia and elsewhere. I know that in my own state, they tried to get voter registration and were, successfully stopped from doing that in court. So that's good, but I don't think those kinds of things are going to stop. Also, having Steve Bannon out there saying that they're going to have ICE patrolling around polling stations come the midterms. I'm not one to take Steve Bannon for a fucking comedian, so I'm going to take that threat seriously. That's some scary shit. I don't know how anybody would even respond to that, or how we might get around that. The only way to get around that, I guess, is for it to be too big to rig. A bunch of people got to come out voting for the blue, and the rest of the people that love MAGA got to be depressed and stay home because things aren't going so well. That's what has to happen. It's a shitty situation. We'll see what happens.
If you want a confession that this was never about immigration, and that on some level this is about winning the next election, and that if you thought that these people couldn't get any more craven, they can, and they will, and they did. I'm flabbergasted from everything that's happened. The thing that I keep coming back to is how incredible the people who are resisting are doing in the face of such adversity, and how they are rising to the occasion. I believe Attorney General Bondi said that this country was formed for respect for law enforcement. I actually think that could not be further from the truth.
What?
This country was formed by resisting and rebelling against tyranny, and that tradition is what I think people point to.
Like
when
every
they
time
say that we engage in.
Every time these people open their mouths, they betray the fact that they have no idea how this country was started, what's in the Constitution. Like, they should. She's a fucking lawyer. Like, you should know what's in the Constitution and not violate it. But I don't know. Is she just ignorant, or is she lying on purpose? I can't tell. I want to say she's lying on purpose, but I don't know, man. She might just be ignorant. They may just not understand how the government functions, and so they think they can do all these things that they can't fucking do. And then they get to court, and the judge laughs them out. It's interesting times.
American activity, and we should continue to do so. I know people want
We're
to...
ruled by the dumbest and worst
to
among
do
us,
something, and
unfortunately.
our options are limited. One thing that you can do that was recommended to me by commentator Will Stansel, who is on the ground in Minneapolis, is to donate to the Lawyers Guild of Minnesota, the ACLU of Minnesota, or Minarca of Minnesota. They are on the ground providing legal relief to the people who have been caught up in this terrible web, and are helping out the people who have been victimized by this reign of terror. So I'll leave some links in the description for that. Yesterday was a really, really bad day, but there are some glimmers of hope, and it shows that that they'll come for the best of us, but that we can fight back.
We're talking about something very...
Okay, well, I did enjoy the Legal Eagle's position on things. Didn't enjoy seeing him cry. That's not comforting. But let's see what Penguin Zero, our good boy Penguin, has to say about this.
very serious today. Throughout the video, you're going to see my shirt changes. It's not some kind of like...
His fucking room is ridiculous, bro. What is this? What are you doing? This is stupid. This is awful. You don't need this much stuff. You have a fucking claw machine. There's got to be something better you can do with that money, right?
crazy, wacky, magic trick from America's Got Talent or anything. I actually filmed this video earlier
I'm a
this
hater,
morning
I guess.
when the story first broke. It's the killing of Alex Preddy in Minnesota at the hands of...
Like, don't get me wrong, I got some nerdy shit. I got some figures and stuff, but that's ridiculous. This man has a full-on statue of Sauron. Why do you need that? Why do you... It's not even a place, like, for show. It's just kind of shoved off into the corner there. Why do you need half this shit? Have a few as, like, decorations and art pieces, but having all of that? I don't know, man. Seems a little extravagant, little too gross, too capitalistic for me.
Border agents, and I made the video, but
By the way, don't forget to tip and give bits if you'd like.
I was pretty heated and I wanted to kind of simmer down and take a break, so I went out before posting it. I just got home, and now even more angles and videos have been released that show beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is a 100% unjustified killing of an American citizen here. And it seems like the execution stems from them finding out that he had a gun on his person. His Second Amendment rights. In all of the videos that exist, there is not a single moment where he is reaching for the gun, brandishing it, threatening with it, or anything at all, and we have video that shows the entire interaction from start to finish. His name was Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old nurse who worked in the ICU at Minneapolis VA healthcare system, and according to the police chief, he is a U.S. citizen with no prior interactions with law enforcement outside of a couple of traffic tickets, and believed to be a lawful gun owner with a...
Yeah, this one just fucking hurts my heart, man. I don't know. This one hits really close to home.
permit to carry. So for him to lose his life...
Not to say that the death of any other citizen is less atrocious or abhorrent. But just the fact that he was a VA ICU nurse, man, this man should not have died the way he died. He was a good guy.
Life being shot multiple times by these agents, all because of him exercising his Second Amendment rights, which again, he wasn't trying to use as an intimidation tactic on the officers or anything like that. When they were beating him on the ground, pistol whipping him on the ground, they happened to see that he had a gun, apparently. He wasn't throwing it at them as like a threat or something, or brandishing it or anything. He simply had it on him, which he was well within his right to do, and he got murdered for it. This is completely unacceptable, and the fucking drones that are somehow like parading around like this is some kind of victory or something is sickening. It should be viewed as treasonous by any real Americans when you see this footage. And they had the gall to say that Alex Preddy was like the instigator, labeling him a domestic terrorist I saw from a couple of places, claiming that he approached these agents with a 9mm. He approached them with a gun looking to start shit. But that is not true. In all of the videos you see, he has a phone in his hands. Not a gun in his hands, he has a phone in his hands. No sane person would ever mistake a phone for a gun. This is blatantly obvious what they're trying to do. And it's something they've been doing a lot recently. Trying to tell you that what you're seeing isn't real. Trust their words, not your eyes.
The worst part about it is that he fucking was killed by the state. But another horrible part about it is that right after his death, some of the highest people in government, Kristi Noem, the president, were saying he's a domestic terrorist. Bitch, how do you know that? You don't know anything because he was out there protesting you? That makes him a domestic... Yeah, well, I mean, NSBM7 or whatever the fuck that memo was that labels Antifa and anti-Christian and anti-American value people as terrorists. It's so vague and so wide-reaching and makes no sense. But they're going to use it anyway to say whoever they don't like is a fucking domestic terrorist. Slap that huge label on your name so that they can surveil you. It's wild times. They probably think I'm a domestic terrorist and I'm a fucking veteran that loved this country, that signed their body over to the government in defense of the Constitution, is not a danger to anybody, is a law-abiding citizen. I don't know. I work at a veterinary hospital. That's what I do all day, is hang out with animals and give them medicine. But I'm a domestic terrorist in the eyes of the government. They've taken me from a law-abiding citizen, veteran, country-loving citizen and flipped it and made me a domestic terrorist because I'm an atheist. Just simply because I'm an atheist. That's wild. That's fucking wild. But here we are. This is the times we're in. What are we gonna do about it?
That is completely fucking outrageous, and people are willingly doing it. That's the craziest part. There are people that are like, oh, I saw he had his phone, but if they say it was a gun, well, that must have been a gun. I cannot believe we've reached this level of brainwashing. There are so many angles of this, and in every single one of them, you can see he has his phone in his hand, and at no point during this interaction did he ever, pull a gun on them or anything. And in fact, in one of the angles, you can even clearly see that the agents actually took the gun from him prior to him being shot. You can actually see what looks to be one of the agents disarming him, taking the gun out of its holster and running away with the gun prior to him being shot.
Yeah, luckily this doesn't show anything, so I
And
think
if that
it's
wasn't
fine.
definitive, there is something even more clear that I think is completely irrefutable for anyone that's actually looking. An agent takes Alex's gun.
Hey, look, if I get banned off Twitch for Alex Pretty's video, worth it, bro. I was gonna get banned eventually. Fuck this place.
Gun out of its holster in front of the agent that pulls out his gun and shoots him. So he can see the gun has been taken out of the holster. And it is clear Alex Pretty has both hands on the ground. He does not have a gun in them. And an agent reaches in and takes it out of the holster right before another agent pulls out his firearm and shoots him in the back.
Well, probably can't show that one on Twitch. We're just gonna bloop real quick.
Just in case you somehow missed it, look. The agent in gray has his hand on Alex's weapon, which is still holstered. It was never unholstered. This agent takes it out of its holster before he runs away with it, and the officer right next to him is the one that pulls out his gun and shoots him. And now I want to show you the clearest video that shows everything that happened here and how it doesn't go how the authorities are saying that it did. That was Alex Preddy you saw walk by the camera right there. He has his phone in his hand, and then with his other hand, his open hand, no gun in it, is waving cars through. There is clearly no brandishing of a firearm here. He is not approaching agents with a gun or anything like that, and you will never see anything even remotely close to that happen.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
In this section, you can again see Alex Preddy has his phone in his hand, and now he's trying to get some of the civilians away from these fucking worms that are now starting to push them. And then one of them got pepper sprayed, and then he got pepper sprayed as well. And when he gets pepper sprayed, you can see his hand shoots in the air like a student about to try and ask the teacher a question. It is a wide open palm. There's no weapon in that hand, and in his other hand is still the phone. There is no gun anywhere here. And now this is when he starts getting beaten by the multiple officers there.
The fuck, people? The fuck is wrong with you? Honestly.
I'm gonna stop the video right here because this is when Alex Preddy gets shot to death. This fucking subhuman coward, you can see, pulls out his firearm and shoots him in the back, and then shoots him multiple times after as Alex Preddy lies on the ground. You can hear one of the agents says gun, and that's when this brain-dead troglodyte pulls out his firearm and starts shooting into Alex while he was still surrounded by his boys, mind you.
Yeah, I mean, that's because they're fucking trigger happy. They want to shoot protesters. A lot of these guys are J6ers. And other than that, they're just people that have been excited to be able to commit violence. And now the state's going to pay them to do it. Well, not really pay them. Promise to pay them and then not give them any life or health insurance. And then not give them a check for months. And then not give them their bonus for, what is it, like a year? So, I mean, maybe you'll get paid, maybe not. Maybe just, roughing up your fellow citizens is the payment because it brings you joy. But we're going to find out who you are one day, and you're going to probably pay the consequences. Good luck to you, brother.
This is like the antithesis to all training that agents go through, by the way, to shoot into a suspect while still being surrounded by authorities. You're going to get your own people shot too, by the way, you fucking moron, you unbelievable homunculus.
There's no Fed
posting. So he immediately
posting.
starts dumping into Alex because someone said gun. But the gun, from the other angles we can see, had already been taken away from Alex, out of his holster. You can see one of the other agents.
I'm kidding myself. This entire stream, my entire life is Fed post, so I don't know.
Running away with it. But again,
Do what you want.
He was never brandishing this firearm. And as an American citizen with Second Amendment rights and a lawful gun owner by all available information, he was allowed to have that gun on his person. It is not grounds to execute a man because you fucking freaked out and panicked because the guy you were beating and pistol whipping with fucking 5 of your friends happened to be armed. He wasn't using it to try and shoot anyone here or threaten them. They saw the gun, and then this guy just freaked out and murdered him. Shot him multiple times. This is indefensible. Completely indefensible. And the fact that they even took him to the ground in the first place and started beating him, with one guy pistol whipping him, by the way. In other angles, you can see a guy just pistol whipping him like he's trying to hammer a nail in with his gun. It should have never even been acceptable for that to happen.
I know it's alright, Diz, but in case you hadn't noticed, the federal government ain't giving a fuck about your rights right now, brother. They doing what they want. We're going wild card mode, okay? Constitution don't matter. Bill of Rights don't matter. They don't give a fuck.
Then all Alex Preddy was doing was filming, and then when some civilians started getting pushed, he tried to help. And when one got pepper sprayed, he tried to help. From all available angles and evidence and videos here, it seems to be that's all he was doing. He even made an effort to try and show that he's not a threat or something.
This ain't the first time the government has killed people during a protest. Like, this is part of our history. But don't give them a reason, bro. Don't give them a reason. There's no reason to I don't know, push the line, because you're not dealing with rational people. I know you want to play by the rules, but they're not playing by the rules. So you can't assume that your rights are going to be protected or not violated by the state. You have to assume that they're going to act irrationally and do crazy shit, because that's what the evidence has shown us that they're going to do, and nobody is reining them in. Nobody is willing to put any limits on them. They should be abolished completely, but at the very fucking least, we need to have limits on them, and then when we get Democrats back in, we can try and crash it. This is not a Democrat-centric platform. I hate the Democrats, but the right is a murder cult, so I don't know what to do.
He threw his arm in the air, wide open, nothing in his hand or anything. He wasn't fighting back against the officers. He got taken to the ground and then immediately started getting beaten.
Diz is so
all because
mad.
He was fucking filming and trying to help other
I love
people
you, buddy.
around there, it seems. This is so fucking sickening. And the freaks that are cheering this on and parading around like this is something to be celebrated are just scum. You're not even American. You're a fucking drone if you actually think this is a good thing. All you care about is just like sucking wiener from the authorities now all of a sudden. You care more about just being on a team than you do thinking for yourself. It's fucking tragic. It is embarrassing. This is crazy now that I'm seeing people justify this guy's murder because he had a weapon.
Nothing drives me crazier than the fucking red team, blue team people. Like, people that assume when you say something bad about Trump that you're automatically on team blue and you love the Democrats, or same thing, when you say something negative about the Democrats, they assume you're a fucking Republican. Like, bro, it's okay to have a nuanced position, not to be a an enlightened centrist. That's not the way either. I am a leftist. I am on the left. I just hate everybody in politics. They're all disgusting. AOC's okay. Bernie's aight. But we need more folks that are willing to step up and do what Ro Khanna's doing, do something, actually move the needle. The Chuck Schumers of the world, the Hakeem Jeffries need to move on and get the fuck out. Like, the corporate Dems cannot hold us back any longer, or society's gonna crumble.
Wake the fuck up. This is America. You can carry weapons. I sometimes carry a gun in public. I have friends who every day carry. It is...
True, Diz, we should all be anti-pedo Epstein class. The billionaires are the real enemy, and the working class needs to unite. But there's only one way we're going to do that successfully, and it's not under fascism or authoritarianism.
You're right, as an American, to carry a firearm if you so choose. That is not grounds for a murder. And based on all of the video footage, all of the available evidence, this guy was not brandishing it or anything like that. Thus, he wasn't threatening anyone or about to shoot someone with it, so they had to kill him to stop him. That doesn't seem to be the case. They're now just using the fact that he had a gun as a justification to kill him. That should be extremely alarming to anyone who cares about 2A. Like, again, him having it should not be an issue, and any real, actual American, like a real patriot, should be arguing for his right to carry, because it is something that we have the right to do, and that should not be a justification for this man being killed by these agents. This point that they're trying to beat into the empty minds of a lot of people that are trying so hard to justify it is that the only people being arrested and targeted by ICE are rapists and pedophile illegal aliens, which is just not the case. There definitely have been rapists and pedophiles that have been snatched up and...
Bro, they were holding signs at Trump rallies that say mass deportations. How do you get mass deportations without violence? Like, they knew what they were signing up for, or they should have. If you wanted to go all after the rapists, criminals, whatever, it would take you like 3 months at this pace. Like, 3,000 people max. But that's not what they're doing. They're not interested in just going after criminals. They're going to people's workplaces, people that have been here for like 20 years. They're doing crazy shit. They're taking everybody. If you aren't white and Christian and believe the same things that they believe, they might just stop you on the street and have you hauled off to a concentration camp. Welcome to America.
And all of this. And those rapists and pedophiles that have been caught and taken away, that's good. They shouldn't be out there breathing the free air. Great. But that's not all that's happening here. You could also right now march into the White House and arrest everyone in the White House, and you would get a ton of rapists and pedophiles. Why isn't that happening? If the goal is getting
True.
rapists and pedophiles off of American soil,
True.
thrown in the slammer,
Because the
taking
DOJ is
them
protecting
away
them,
from society,
Charlie.
why is it only just walking through the fucking streets of Minnesota trying to do it? You would get significantly more rapists and pedophiles if you took ICE and brought them to the White House. And an
Diz, you're overreacting. Like Candace told me, like, his problem was just that he wanted to aspire outside of his own country. That's what I've been told, right? Candace told me, and Candace is the queen of the right wing, I think. I like her.
administration is actively covering up a massive
She's my
child
brand of
sex trafficking
schizo's
operation and
conspiracy
letting tons
theorist.
of
She's like
evil
Alex
people get
Jones.
away
I
with
love
this,
her.
Tons of clients. So if the goal is to get this kind of evil out of this country, why would you not start with what is provably a spot that has so many of them? Also, that belief of like a secret pedophile ring was a very popular one among Trump voters for the long.
We will not have any Candace Owens disrespect on this channel, Diz. I'm sorry, I can't have it. She is my darling queen on the right now. Since Marjorie Taylor Greene put her tail between her legs and ran back to her state, we got to have somebody. It can't be Erica Kirk. She's evil. Candace, I think, is the one. She's got some powers. She hung out with Charlie, and he had some electric X-Men powers. I think she, too, has a little bit of psychic something going on, because she can weave together these theories that are just so delicious and hilarious to listen to. I'm sorry.
Longest time, and now that it has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be real, legitimate reality, they are now just
Real
ignoring
legitimate
it.
reality.
They have been proven correct that there was a huge pedophile ring of these powerful.
Charlie. We're talking about people that are post-truth. They don't care. We are in a narrative-based society. We're in a vibes-based society. Shared reality is broken down. I can't have a normal conversation with somebody that's still MAGA brain, because they live in a different fucking universe than I do, and they base their worldview off of different facts than I do. It's hard to come to a fucking meeting point on that shit.
Politicians, but because some of their favorite politicians are potentially wrapped up in it, they just want to drop it and forget about it. Absolutely unhinged, by the way. It's crazy. So many people for the longest
Red team
time
versus
were
blue team,
adamant
baby.
against like government surveillance and Big Brother watching them being a huge concern. Now, plenty of people are welcoming it with open arms and a huge smile on their face. For the longest time, people would be preaching about the importance of the Second Amendment and gun rights. And now, even with this, they're saying, well, he had a gun, which means that's an executable offense. So it seems like they now no longer believe in Americans' right to own guns or carry guns, which was...
I mean, yeah, with the Epstein file shit that's coming out, I mean, we already knew, but we didn't know, like, to the extent. The president is at the center of the world's most prolific child abuse ring and abuse against women, trafficking, all that bad shit. And a lot of his cabinet are also involved in it. A lot of the people that are close to him are involved in it. And I don't know how we move forward as a country if we don't reckon with that. If we allow this to just stand, like, how do people keep going to work and paying taxes to the pedophile elite class? We know that Bill Gates is in on this shit. We know a lot of these powerful people are in on this shit. Something has to happen. Consequences need to come to fruition. And every day that goes by that the Epstein files continue to not be released unredacted, and the other 3 million files that they say are copies are not also released, like, I don't know how much longer people are going to put up with this shit. I don't know if I'm just ahead of the curve on it and I'm upset about it, but I feel like at some point people are gonna not want to pay taxes to the pedophilic elites that are taking away all of their buying ability and preventing their wages from being increased, and are getting ready to usher in an AI slop fest that is going to try and replace them in the workforce. I just don't know how we continue down that path, but maybe we will. Maybe we just want to dig our own grave, and that's how America's going to go. Who knows? It's exciting. It's such exciting times. My blood pressure is fine.
Was a core component of like the right for a long time, where there was like this big fear about they're coming for our guns. And now the same people that were arguing like to protect that are now arguing against it, saying, well, this guy deserved to die because he had a gun with him. It's a fundamental right of Americans to have guns, gun ownership. You can carry them in public too. Like that, you shouldn't be killed for that. And in the footage here, it doesn't seem like he was brandishing it or anything. And also, the same people that only like a year and a half ago were constantly telling you to question the government, that you can't trust anything that comes out of the government, the authorities always lying to you, are now just willingly, blindly, unquestioningly following anything authorities tell them to believe in, and shut out any and all thought and just have the hive mind think for them. It is crazy because it seems like the only actual belief of some of these fucking brainwashed drones is relentless cock gobbling. All they want to do is swallow boots and penis from the government. So if the administration or the news, which they used to hate the news, but now that the news just parrots points from big government that they like to clap their hands at like seals, they now just trust all of it all of a sudden, even though there's been no big change with these mainstream media outlets.
Yeah, Alex Jones really did let me down, though. Not only with the Sandy Hook stuff, but also just the fact that we now have mass surveillance. We have Palantir. We have corporations that are collecting our genetic data. We have all kinds of things online that are surveilling you all the time. We have Ring cameras that they want to set up in everybody's house so they can get that surveillance data. We have body cameras on cops so they can surveil you and do facial recognition and do all kinds of shit with that shit. And usually it's not to get a cop in trouble when they've done something wrong. It's mostly to get you in trouble or surveil other people around you. We have mass surveillance. We have cameras everywhere. You can't move without being caught on a fucking camera. They will find you. All of that. And Alex Jones, the man who, 15 years ago was the conspiracy theorist saying that all of this was coming. They're going to take your guns away. They're going to mass surveil you. They're going to have camps. What happened, dude? What happened, Alex? Come on, big dog. You let us down on this one. You're supposed to be leading the charge. 1776, brother. I don't hear it. And it's because it's Trump and it's his friends. And maybe Alex Jones was also on the Epstein Island. I don't know. That's all. They're putting something in the water, turning the politicians pedophile. That's all I'm saying.
By the way, that they used to not trust only a year and a half ago. But now, anytime they hear something from the news or anything that comes from the government, they will just immediately accept without a second thought and then attack anyone else that is...
Also, just due to the nature of the speech in this, there's no way this is going to be monetized on any platform. So if you want to throw me some biddies, that'd be dope. Maybe I'll stream more if I get some biddies. Because at the end of the day, I'm a material girl in a capitalist world. You know what I'm saying? And something's got to pay the bills.
Is saying differently, or even just probing them to maybe think a little bit more about the narratives. Keep in mind, the government themselves are currently not even complying with their own laws that Trump has signed, like the Epstein Transparency Act, where the DOJ is still putting up a fight and are over a month late to compliance with releasing the Epstein files. They are still fighting tooth and nail to not release them, and even recently, only a week ago, outright said maybe there's no court that can force them to order this. They didn't even say maybe. I gave them a very charitable thing right there. They actually said courts can't force them to do this, and that if they don't comply, there's nothing anyone can do. They can't be sued. If the DOJ doesn't comply, go fuck yourself, pussy. That's basically their sentiment. They are not complying with their own fucking laws, and yet people are still willing to overlook that in order to just keep playing for the same team. It's like it's a competition to see who can think the least and who can regurgitate enough from the hive mind to be the biggest super fan of their side. It's fucking despicable. It's actually crazy. This is real sheep behavior. I know a lot of these people like to say sheep, sheep, sheep for the longest time, but now they are actually the epitome of that. Here's just a little thought experiment if you can break through the programming for a second. Imagine what's happening in Minnesota was happening under Obama or Biden, where there were masked agents that were constantly surveilling you, and even at times asking for your papers, your documents to prove you're an American citizen, constantly needing to provide your private information to these masked agents. And these agents also had killed 2 American citizens. What do you think your response would be? Would you be like, oh yes, please, everyone needs to comply with this. This is good. This is what I want. This is what I look for in Obama or Biden. This is what I'm happy about. Would you be as excited then as you are now in that scenario? My guess would be probably not, because you would rightfully view this as an infringement on your rights as an American. Your Second Amendment right, where apparently even carrying a gun now is a crime punishable by death. Like, this isn't something anyone should be championing for, but because it's become such like a team-focused sport, people delude themselves into thinking that they have to support this, and thus they will abandon all of their beliefs in order to stay on this side. It's crazy to me. I truly don't even know what the solution here is, because people are just willingly, on their own accord, no longer trust.
Yeah, I mean, these people are in too deep at this point. They've lost family members and friends, and they have too much written on this. It would be too shameful, too big of a hit to their ego to admit at this point that they were wrong. For some of them. Some people have admitted that they were wrong, and good for them. But a lot of these people, like, they have too much of their personality and their ego wrapped up in politics to be like, yeah, I was wrong, he's a piece of shit. And that's sad. That's crazy. More people should be willing to acknowledge new evidence and say, you know what, I don't think I called that right. Given this new evidence that's come in, maybe I voted wrong there. But I don't know.
What they see and what they know to be true. They would rather just have the government tell them what to think and what's true. So that way they don't have to do any level of thought for their own. How do you fix that? I genuinely do not know. I have no idea. I don't know how you can watch this footage in multiple
Fix it. Fix it, Charlie. We can't fix it. We've destroyed the education system. People are fleeing universities to other countries. We're having brain drain. We destroyed the Department of Education. Like, there's no fixing it. I don't know what to tell you, brother. It's only going to get worse.
Angles of this situation and still come out trusting the government's word on the series of events that unfolded, when you can yourself watch the footage and prove them false. What do you do to someone that just refuses to at least try and see things clearly? I don't know, but it's fucking tragic, and it's only getting worse. It is so fucking out of control. I had to yap about this. I've been actually fuming all day. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun. I'm so excited about all of that. Now let's get into the other fun part of our government that, you know, not shooting people and dragging them out of their homes, but the secret goblin pedophile ring that's maybe running the entire society for the past 20 years. Maybe everybody's connected to Epstein? I don't know. Let's find out.
Speaker, yesterday, Congressman Massey and I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files.
Gross.
We spent about 2 hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted. In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massey and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikoladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman
you nasty
Leslie
motherfuckers.
Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. Now, my question is, why did it take Thomas Massey and me going to the Justice Department to get these 6 men's identities to become public. And if we found 6 men that they were hiding in 2 hours, imagine how many men they are covering up for in those 3 million files. But the story gets worse. The reality is that Donald Trump's FBI scrubbed these files in March, long before Thomas Massie and I passed the Epstein Transparency Act.
Thank you, Mr.
Now, my bill is clear. The Epstein Transparency Act requires them to unredact those FBI files. And yet the Justice Department said to me and to Congressman Massie, we just uploaded whatever the FBI sent us. And guess what? The FBI sent scrubbed files. That means the survivor's statement to the FBI, naming rich and powerful men who went to Epstein's island, who went to his ranch, who went to his home and raped and abused underage girls or saw underage girls being paraded, they're all hidden. They're all redacted. It's a little bit of a farce. They're inviting all the members of Congress to go to see the Department of Justice, quote unquote, unredacted files, but they've got all redacted files from the FBI. And it's not the fault of the Justice Department attorneys. They were just told upload things that Donald Trump's FBI had already scrubbed. It's a blatant violation.
I mean, it's pretty evident by the fact that they released the victims' names, people that have maybe been hidden for many, many years and didn't want this shit to come out, and that Congress specifically said we need to make sure that these victims' names are not released because it could damage them. They put those out, but they redacted the co-conspirators' names. The guy that said age 10, the guys that were talking about all the little girl stuff, they redacted those names and protected them, but released the victims. You just have to assume malice and malignancy at that point. Like, it can't be stupidity, it can't be ignorance. They did that shit on purpose to scare the fucking witnesses, to scare the victims into not saying anything. But given the interview that we're about to watch after this, it didn't work very well. So yeah.
Violation of the Epstein Transparency Act, but it also asks a fundamental question. Who are they protecting? Why are they protecting these rich and powerful men, people I call part of the Epstein class? Why are we in a country where there is no elite accountability for people who do the most heinous things? You have in England the king now called...
I mean, at this point, you just have to assume that every corporation is filled with goblins and abhorrent soulless demons. So I'm not going to buy from corporations if I can help it. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of things that you have to use corporations for in some sense. But for the most part, I think I can get away with just buying shit at local shops in my small town, and otherwise just not buying shit. Definitely not buying things on Amazon anymore. I'm not using all the apps and shit that I used to use. I've deleted a lot of them. It's just, I can't be a part of this anymore. I can't. You guys are making me like retreat from society because it's just filled with demons.
Calling for an investigation and possible prosecution of his own brother. You have in Norway the princess who no longer has support to be the queen. And yet in the United States of America, we have someone in the cabinet, Howard Lutnick, who is all over these Epstein files.
Donald Trump.
Who allegedly had business with Epstein after he was convicted of pedophilia, and he still is in the cabinet. We need to ask ourselves, are we in America going to have elite accountability? Are we going to call on rich and powerful people who broke the law or cavorted with a pedophile, a convicted pedophile? Are we going to call them to account? Are we going to have prosecutions for billionaires who went to this island and either raped underage girls or saw underage girls being raped and didn't say anything? Are we going to have investigations?
You're fucking better.
This is about. It's not just about the 1,200 survivors. It's about 2 tiers of justice in America. It's about people who can accumulate wealth and power and don't have to care about the rest of America. They have destroyed so much of this country. Income inequality is at a 60-year high. Workers' salaries are less than they have been for 75 years as a part of GDP. Somehow this country seems to be working for the rich and powerful, but it's not working for ordinary working class Americans. I say enough. It's time to begin with accountability for the Epstein class. Hold them in front of Congress, those people who visited the island or did business with Epstein after he was a convicted pedophile. Investigate them, prosecute them, and let's return to democratic accountability in the United States of America. Let's return to one system of justice in the United States of America. Let's return to a place where every American has a stake in this country.
Very well said by Rokana. Love it. Keep going. Don't stop. We need to protect that man. Diz in the chat, what did you say? You watched the Red Thread episode on Epstein and Trump. I'm not kidding about Lex Wexner. No, yeah, I know Lex is disgusting. But I've kind of known that for a while. Before any of this shit even came out, I knew Lex was disgusting. Just because of a lot of the background of Victoria's Secret and the stuff that he's done in the past. Not even related to fucking Epstein. Never been a fan of that guy or Victoria's Secret in general. Yeah. But he's a goblin. He's one of the goblins. Let's continue on with more of this Epstein file shit.
Justice Department made millions of unredacted records.
Oh, you're quiet, homie. You're so quiet.
Offender Jeffrey Epstein available.
Why are you so
for certain
quiet?
Members of Congress to view today. Here's what Representatives Thomas Massey and Rokana said they saw just moments ago. Take a listen.
What I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files.
Our bigger concern is that there's still a lot that's redacted, even in what we're seeing.
Here now joining us, Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz of Florida. He serves on the House Judiciary Committee. So, Congressman, you got a look at some of these files today. Now, the Epstein Files Transparency Act only allowed the Justice Department to withhold the personal information of the victims, the survivors, and material that would act.
Well, that didn't happen, did it?
Investigations. Did the redactions that you saw comply with the law? And tell us what you saw that concerned you.
Well, thanks, Jake. Thanks for having me. First, let me say, obviously, we're all hoping for Savannah's mom's speedy return to her family. So first of all, you go into the Department of Justice today, you go to the 10th floor of a building, there's nobody who works on that floor. You go into a room with 4 computers. The system that they set up for us to view these documents has a 24-page handbook on how to use it. There's 2.7 million documents that you have to go through. There's no way to go through them unless you know what you're looking for by batch number. Try to match up the redacted document and look for it in an unredacted capacity. But first let me say that today I saw a worldwide sex trafficking ring with people in other countries sourcing young children for Jeffrey Epstein, co-conspirators' names, men and women. Clearly other people that might be on the client
Wait a
list
minute.
that are on text messages and emails.
That doesn't track. Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, my boy, Kash. He told us that there was no co-conspirators. He said that if he had any evidence, he said under oath that if he had any evidence of co-conspirators, that he would bring it out. He was the one. He told Joe Rogan that Epstein was just filing all these thousands of girls into himself. It was just him. It was just for him. Just Epstein. Had to be. No co-conspirators. Oh no, wait.
Over-redaction, dramatic over-redaction. It looks like intentionally so. And then documents that are still redacted. And when we asked why these were redacted, that's because they were submitted into this electronic system redacted. And the people that were at our disposal to ask those questions did not know why they were still redacted, Jake.
Could you identify any of the names of individuals who are mentioned in the files that concern you?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how after the bungling of the assassination on Charlie Kirk, how that all went, the investigation, saying that he came out on Twitter and found the fucking person when it wasn't even the right person 30 minutes after it happened or something like that. Like, buddy, you're supposed to be the head of FBI. What are you doing? Investigate. Don't jump to conclusions. What the fuck? That, and then now the Epstein files that he's been proven to have lied under oath about. What are we doing here, people? This is a fucking clown show. Like, if these people are allowed to continue in their position and continue to undermine the fucking laws of this nation, like, it's not gonna be a nation anymore. It's gonna split the fuck apart.
And if you
let's
afraid
not conspiracy
of doing it
theory
with me
at the
now
moment.
because of fear of
We'll
lawsuit,
save that for later.
there is the speech and debate clause of the Constitution. Obviously, you could go to the floor of the House and you could say it and not be sued. Can you tell us anybody?
Well, Jake, we have Pam Bondi coming to the Judiciary Committee hearing on Wednesday, as you mentioned. It's the first time she's coming to the Judiciary hearing. She's the only cabinet secretary yet to appear in the House on the Committee of Jurisdiction. And I think we're going to give her the opportunity to start naming people. I think that's what Thomas Massey and
She ain't gonna
Rohan
name
talked
nobody.
about. Obviously, these names need to come out. I think the DOJ needs to release an unredacted version of these documents while still keeping the victims' names secure. But there are clearly co-conspirators in here that they can name. Okay, I mean, in the documents I saw, we got pictures and their names. They're talking about sourcing girls. There's people in Paris. There's people in Russia. There's people in Czech sourcing girls for Jeffrey Epstein, and then other people talking about these girls being sent to them. They refer to them as, we're dropping the child off. I mean, it's really gross, Jake, on how these people are talking about this stuff in text message and email. I think the American people need to see it and understand that this is a worldwide network that Jeffrey Epstein was running.
Today, Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney said she...
The only reason I keep going to my job and fucking paying taxes to these dirty people is because my job is really important and my patients need me. Otherwise, if I had like a fucking corporate job or I worked at Target or some stupid shit like that, I'd be out. I'd sit on my couch and just collect my veteran disability and make it work. But I'm not ready to leave my job. I'd do my job even if they paid me way fucking less, or maybe not at all, just because I enjoy it and it's my passion. But I don't know how people that work for some of these corporations whose heads have been revealed keep going to their jobs and stay sane. Like, I would lose my fucking mind.
She's prepared to speak fully and honestly. She took the fifth with the House Oversight Committee earlier. But she said she'll speak fully and honestly, but only if given clemency by President Trump. And her attorney, essentially at the same time, was saying, hey, Ghislaine Maxwell is the only person who could clear President Trump and President Clinton and say they're innocent of wrongdoing. Some people might see that as a quid pro quo. What was your reaction?
That's exactly what it is, Jake. First of all, why was she moved from the maximum security prison? Why did Todd Blanche move her? I hope we get an answer from Pam Bondi on Wednesday. Nobody seems to know why she was moved. Who directed that? What was that exchange for? By the way, when she talked to Todd Blanche, she didn't claim any Fifth Amendment privilege, and so her right to remain silent. So all of a sudden now, I mean, this is another failed, Comer, hearing that he has, where he says Ghislaine Maxwell's coming in to talk and we're going to get the truth, and when we get nothing. She needs to go back to that maximum security prison. There should be no deal for clemency for her to bail anybody out. But at the end of the day, we need to know why she was given this deal, why she was moved, what did she trade for?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are losing so much popularity and MAGA fan base over this shit. You were the ones that campaigned on it. Kash Patel was the one that was so gung-ho about it. Pam Bondi said she had all these names on her desk. And then what's happening now? Now you're covering up for the pedophiles because they're your friends? Because they're your president? That's a decision. That's wild. You're going to go down with that ship? That's the hill you want to die on? Wow. I don't know, mate. It's not a hill I would choose for myself, Miss Pam Bondage. Pam Bondi. I can't wait until she's in bondage in a jail cell, to be clear, not not in a sexual sense. That's degrading and not right. I want to see her in handcuffs, is what I'm saying. These people are disgusting. We need to investigate them. We need to indict them. We need to impeach the people that are in the cabinet that are in power currently. Pam Bondi first and foremost, the president also, because until that happens and the DOJ starts ruling with the law again, nobody's going to take them seriously. No one is going to respect them. Their popularity is going to tank, and maybe they don't care because they have some fascist plan to take over the elections anyway, so they don't need your vote or your popularity. But I'm just saying, like, nobody likes you guys right now, except the sickest motherfuckers. Like, if you're still defending the MAGA people, the administration at this point, you're admitting that you're the worst of the worst in this country.
And what does the administration know that they're not telling us?
Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz of Florida, thanks so much. Always good to have you on.
Joining us now, California Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna sits on the House Oversight Committee, sat in on the Maxwell testimony, and viewed some of the unredacted files today. So, Congressman, what are your biggest takeaways after viewing some of those unredacted documents?
That too much of it was still redacted. Anderson, you'll remember that in March, the FBI had 1,000 personnel going through these files. Donald Trump had ordered them to go through the files, and they made many redactions. And it looks like what happened is those files were redacted then, and then they sent them over to Justice, and Justice kept those redactions. Well, the FBI works for Pam Bondi, and they need to unscrub the redactions that the FBI made to comply with the Epstein Transparency Act.
So even the files you saw were redacted?
I'd say 70 to 80% of them were redacted. The main 302 statements where survivors talked about who raped them, all of that was still redacted. Now, we did find information about some excessive redactions where there were 6 men in the 2 hours we reviewed who should not have been redacted, and I do hope the Justice Department makes that public. Some of the most sensational...
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, they released the victims list, but redacted the co-conspirators. They also released photos of the victims, like some of them with their faces in, skimpy clothing, sometimes naked. I mean, it's disgusting, but they covered up the men's faces. I just don't get it. Absolute demon shit. What the fuck?
Emails, frankly, some of the redactions may have been legitimate because some of them were from women.
We are the
some of them may
baddies
have been
as a country,
But
based
the
on who's
broader
leading us right
theme
now. We're the fucking
is
worst.
that a lot of this was redacted back in March before we passed the law, and the law requires an unscrubbing of those files so we know who the powerful men were who visited the island and raped these girls, and that was never done.
You were at Maxwell's deposition with the House Oversight Committee today. She invoked her Fifth Amendment right multiple times and also promised to clear President Trump's name
man.
in exchange for clemency. I'm wondering what your takeaway was from that and the whole deposition itself.
I was outraged. I mean, she spent hours talking to Deputy Attorney General Blanche and answering his questions. Yet when it came to the Oversight Committee, whether there were Republican or Democratic questions, she took the blanket Fifth Amendment, even when we were asking her nothing about incriminating herself, just asking her who else came to the island. Who else do you know that could have trafficked in girls? And then she says, well, I do have this information. I know this information, but I'm only going to share it if you give me clemency and don't have any prosecution. That's not how things work.
Cool.
She should be
Fuck
sent
this
back
bitch.
to the maximum security
Fuck this
prison.
lady.
That clip where you and
Caught
Congressman
myself.
Massey said
Fuck
there
that
are these
lady.
6
I
men
hate
whose
her.
names
She's
have
evil.
been redacted
Abhorrent
and should
goblin.
be incriminated by
I'm
their
not gonna use the
inclusion in
B word.
files. Can you elaborate more on
better
that?
than
I mean,
that.
is it clear was that part of the group that was redacted in the first place?
No, that is not part of the group. It doesn't look like that was part of the group that was redacted in the first place. There are certain documents that say there are 10 co-conspirators, 15 co-conspirators. In that document, some of them were women. Now, I don't know if those women were survivors or not survivors, but we give the benefit of the doubt to Justice. Maybe those were survivors who also happened to be co-conspirators and they appropriately redacted them. But there are 6 men, in those documents, some of them foreign-born, a couple of them in the United States with their pictures, and there's absolutely no explanation for why they were redacted. Now, we just discovered 6 men in a 2-hour review. My guess is there are more of those people, and we are going to
a lot more of them in the other fucking 3 million files that haven't been released yet.
Cover-up. The broader cover-up, though, that I'm concerned about is the scrubbing that took place in March in the FBI files, where all of this redacted information was then sent to the Justice Department. I think U.S. attorneys looked at it in good faith, but they were looking at documents that were already redacted. So when I said to the Justice Department person, who was very nice, helping me search through the documents, I said, why are these redacted? He said, well, sir, we got them this way. So we just are putting them up in the form we got them. And that is the big issue that needs to be addressed.
Congressman Ro Khanna, as always, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, next we're moving on to a little review of some of the Pam Bondi fun that happened in front of Congress. Good times. It was hilarious. She made a complete fucking clown of herself up there with her nose in the air the entire time in her little burn book and Oppo research. It was hilarious. So maybe we'll get a good chuckle out of this while the nation burns, because, you know, you got to laugh at the absurdity. You know, it's laugh or cry, and I choose laughter.
Done in that area, but I want to thank the Attorney General for her great work in the first year on the job, and I want to thank you for being here. With that, I would yield to the ranking member for an opening statement.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman, and welcome Attorney General Bondi. You've got the best lawyer's job in America because your mission is justice and your clients are the American people. But to promote justice for the people, you've got to listen to the victims, like the women seated behind you today. Those are just some of the hundreds of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's global sex trafficking ring who are demanding that the truth be told and are demanding accountability for the abusers who trafficked and raped them. You still haven't met with...
A good line from this, I'm going to pause this real quick, because a good line that's really stuck with me is that, like, they keep saying, you got to stop treating this like a game. And it's facts. They are treating this like a game. They have worked it out with game theory, and they're trying to play it out, but it's not a fucking game, bro. This is real life. This is real shit. It's trying to play like teenager cat and mouse type games when you've already been caught by the cops. Like, it's over. Like, you need to just open up and admit everything and show us the fucking evidence, because you've been embarrassed. We all know what you're doing here, lady.
These survivors. So with their permission, let me introduce to you the survivors and late survivors' family members who are present today. There's Teresa Helm, there's Jess Michaels, Laura Bloom McGee, Danny Bensky, Liz Stein, Marina Lacerda, Sky and Amanda Roberts, who are the family of the late Virginia Giuffre, Charlene Richard, and Lisa Phillips. Now, you're not showing a lot of interest in the victims, Madam Attorney General, whether it's Epstein's human trafficking ring or the homicidal governmental violence against citizens in Minneapolis. As Attorney General, you're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a...
Listen, folks, I'm gonna have to stand up for a minute because your boy is a disabled veteran with massive spinal and hip issues. So we're gonna stand up, but luckily I got a new desk and it raises. Hopefully it won't rip any wires out when we raise it. Oh, look at that. Oh, damn. Oh, we're spicy now. Oh, yeah. All right. I think that's as high as we can go. Look at us go, chat. We got a standing desk now. All right.
Massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there, and you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce, You redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact.
We're gonna let Raskin go off here for a second while I go use the bathroom chat. All right, I'll be right back.
Many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept their torment private, even from family and friends. But you published their names, their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused, and trafficked. This performance screams cover-up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia recorded in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy puppy. All because Todd Blanche, who's utterly failed to investigate the monstrous crimes of Epstein and Maxwell's co-conspirators, spent 9 hours with Maxwell and satisfied himself that she would have nothing untoward to say about Donald Trump, which is your only real interest in the matter, based on institutional performance. But abandoning victims and coddling perpetrators is what you do best. When the FBI opened a criminal investigation into the brutal killing in Minneapolis of Renee Good, a poet and 37-year-old mother of 3, by Trump's masked paramilitary ICE agents, you shut it down. You claim you're investigating the cold-blooded murder of Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse at the VA. But how can we trust the administration when the president and Kristi Noem called Preddy a domestic terrorist and Stephen Miller called him a would-be assassin? Not only do you refuse to share evidence with the state and local investigators and prosecutors in Minnesota, you have blocked their access to the crime scene and the evidence. How are you seeking justice for Marimar Martinez, the Montessori school teacher in Chicago who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent who bragged about it on text? Or the family of Keith Porter, a father of 2 shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent in LA? Or the family of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, shot and killed in Illinois minutes after he dropped his kids off at school? There's no sign of any movement at the Department of Justice. You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that? But it's even worse. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve Board, and members of Congress like Adam Schiff, Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, Chrissy Houlihan, Jason Crow, Chris DeLuzio, and Maggie Goodlander, to name a few, and you snap to it. You replace real prosecutors with counterfeit stooges who robotically do the president's bidding. Nothing in American history comes close to this complete corruption of the justice function and contamination of federal law enforcement. And the good news is many serious lawyers at DOJ, including some of your own original appointees, have refused your lawless orders. Danielle Sassoon, your original pick for acting U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, resigned rather than follow your corrupt order to quash an indictment against Mayor Eric Adams as a political favor from Donald Trump. A Federalist Society member who clerked for Justice Scalia, U.S. Attorney Sassoon refused to participate in this blatantly corrupt scheme. Her top assistant, Hagan Scotton, an Iraqi war vet and 2-time Bronze Star recipient who clerked for Chief Justice Roberts, and then Judge Kavanaugh, promptly resigned too, writing to your office, quote, "I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion. but it was never going to be me. You and the president nominated Eric Siebert, a 15-year career prosecutor, to be your U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. But after 5 months of investigating Letitia James and James Comey, he found no evidence to justify criminal charges. So you forced him out. You replaced him with Lindsay Halligan, Trump's personal lawyer from the Mar-a-Lago documents case, who had zero prosecutorial experience and no qualifications. And then you were humiliated when a federal judge found that this corrupt appointment was blatantly unlawful and threw out Halligan's indictments entirely. And grand juries of American citizens have repeatedly rejected your vendettas and baseless indictments brought by the hacks left at DOJ now, with 2 different grand juries in Virginia voting down indictments against Letitia James in a single week. And just yesterday, another grand jury shut down.
Yeah, they can't stop losing in court. I wonder why that fucking is. Maybe it's because they're unreasonable people with unhinged views and no conceptual understanding of how this country works. Possibly.
Your vendetta factory by rejecting indictments against the 6 members of Congress who had spoken out to remind all service members that they have a duty to refuse illegal orders.
True, Mark Kelly's so fucking based. I love Mark Kelly. I'm glad that the indictment or whatever they were trying to throw at him didn't go their way. And now he's suing Pete Hegseth for trying to fucking take him down in retirement. Wild shit. Love it. Good for him. That shit is crazy because, yeah, I mean, it's very basic UCMJ law that you're supposed to disobey unlawful orders. That not only, really, brother? Not only is it your duty to follow orders, it's also your duty to recognize when you're given an unlawful order. If your chief tells you to shoot a citizen, you're supposed to be able to say, nah, chief, I don't think I'm going to do that. And then report his ass. But it's very basic stuff. Like, you don't have to follow every order because there are unlawful orders that you should resist. Saying that is not a crime.
You tried to get a grand jury to indict 6 members of Congress who are veterans of our armed forces on charges of seditious conspiracy simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. I hope you will heed the wisdom and the constitutional patriotism of those grand jurors and not try it again by doubling down on that humiliation. As your best lawyers are sacked for having participated in the January 6th case or just flee for the exits now, your new lawyers keep lying in court. In dozens of cases, they've been excoriated for lying to federal judges. Chief Judge Boasberg, right here in D.C., suggested your Department of Justice perpetrated a fraud on the court. Other judges found your statements to be, quote, inexplicably misleading, patently incredible, totally inconsistent, and so disingenuous that the court is left with little confidence that the government can be trusted to tell the truth about anything. Now, as ranking member, I asked the chairman to add a few extra rounds of questions today because we each have 5 hours of questions, not 5 minutes, but we're stuck with 5 minutes. That's clearly insufficient to give voice to America's victims and survivors and to demand answers about all the corruption and cover-ups that we see at DOJ right now. We've got just 1 round, so we ask you politely but firmly, Madam Attorney General, please do not waste 1 second of our precious time by evading questions, by changing the subject, or engaging in personal attacks against members of Congress. We saw your performance in the Senate, and we're not going to accept that. This isn't a game. In the Senate, you brought something with you called a burn book, a binder of smears to attack members personally for doing the people's work of oversight. Please set the burn book aside and answer our questions. And when you hear us reclaim our time, that means it's time for you to stop speaking. We only have 5 minutes, so when we reclaim our time, that means you stop. And if you don't, we will ask the chair to stop the clock and let you go on his time. The quality of justice in America depends on the character of our government. Please do your job and bring the Department of Justice back from the brink. The survivors seated behind you and the American people watching everywhere deserve a Department of Justice worthy of its name. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Beautifully said, Mr. Raskin. Speaking of survivors, they did an interview after this shirt rod of a fucking hearing. So So I'd like to
Not
hear
long
what they
after
have
the
to say
Attorney General's
next.
fiery hearing on Capitol Hill, where we heard Pam Bondi defend her department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files, I interviewed 6 survivors of Epstein's abuse and 2 family members who tell me they feel that the Justice Department is not taking accountability. We've got that conversation here on our NBC News Now special coverage. Thank you all so much for being here. I know you literally have just come over off of Capitol Hill, where the Attorney General had appeared for that hearing in front of the House Judiciary Committee. I want to do just a couple of show of hands moments on how you feel about that, and then I want to talk about your reaction to everything we heard today. So with the show of hands, can you show me your hands if you were satisfied with what you heard from the Attorney General today? Nobody. Show of hands if you are frustrated with what you heard.
Very much so.
Very much so. Teresa, tell me more about that.
Well, going into this morning, and much like much of this process, I have this perspective that you need to give people the opportunity to do what they say they're going to do, to fulfill their word, put their money where their mouth is, so to speak. And we have yet again seen that go the complete opposite direction of there's no integrity. There was no integrity in that room today, it seemed like, as far when it came to Epstein and Maxwell. You know, there was a lot of expression of other good outcomes on things, and I can agree with a lot of what was said, and there was nothing that gave us any bit of hope of any kind of integrity and doing the right thing when it comes to Epstein, Maxwell, accountability, further investigation, which she claimed was happening. And we're going to be waiting to see the outcome of that and see if that's an accurate, legitimate statement.
Danny, I see you nodding and shaking your head.
I think there was such a lack of empathy today. There was such a lack of, honestly, humanity today. Something that, you know, I think all of us felt a little devastated about was that she had 3 opportunities to address survivors. We stood up, and all she had to do was turn around, and she could not even turn around and face us. For so many years, I can't speak for everybody, but for me.
Yeah, I mean, she couldn't even talk straight. When she was saying the Dow was over 50,000, she couldn't get the words out of her mouth because she's shook. She's scared because she knows what's happening. And yet she's still complying with it, which is fucking wild. I wouldn't want to die on that hill.
I felt like such a ghost walking through Epstein's mansion. I felt like there were so many people who saw me. There were so many people who should have spoken up. And instead I felt like I was less than nothing. And now
who
to
are these
not have
people?
A.G. Bondi
I would really
turn
like to
around
know.
and acknowledge us, it is the exact same type of victimization. It's horrible.
Charlene, what did you think of that moment when you all were standing there and she was asked by one of the members of Congress to turn around and address you?
I felt really degraded. I felt that she's not taking at all any accountability. She's not following any kind of transparency. And honestly, the thought that I have is birds of a feather flock together. So I feel like the way that she handled today is often the way that our president or other people have treated us that are really high up. And I felt like she was treating us just like everybody else has in the justice system and beyond.
I was looking at you all. The cameras there had shown a view of you in that moment, on your feet, in front of this hearing room, in front of all of these cameras.
Like, if we can't come together as a nation and say that pedophilia and abuse rings and powerful elites doing whatever they want and possibly eating people, maybe, I don't know, that's been thrown around, that's not okay. If we can't come together as a society and say, hey man, probably shouldn't give these people so much power, probably shouldn't shop at their corporations anymore, probably shouldn't allow them in government. If we can't do that, then we're fucked. We're super fucked. Beyond fucked.
And I wonder, Jess, Liz, all of you, if you can take me, what was going inside in your mind? What was happening in your mind? What were you thinking as that moment was happening?
So one of the things I was thinking in that moment is that it is such a simple act to turn around and say, I apologize for the terrible job our DOJ did in releasing, that is something that is completely inappropriate, to take responsibility for that, for the damage they did. to us, not to state it as, yes, we understand damage was done. No, to us. It was such a simple thing. And it's something we teach children, to take accountability, to recognize when you've made a mistake and you just apologize for it. So there wasn't even an adult in the room that could apologize for the damage done to children and girls.
In her opening remarks, the Attorney General said, "I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through, especially as a result of that monster."
Of that monster. But not. So there's the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein, and then there's the crimes of the cover-up. And she's part of that continuing cover-up. So she didn't apologize for that.
But when she said that monster,
Much less the cover-up, okay? Just apologize for the fact that the DOJ released their names, which they were not supposed to do, very explicitly, under law, and also, for fucking common sense, obvious reasons you shouldn't release the name of victims. What the fuck are you doing, Pam Bondi? You're a piece of shit. Our Attorney General is a goddamn joke. She's a clown, she's a jester, she's not to be taken seriously. And she's scared. She's shook as hell. I know when people shook, she's shook. I've seen it. I've seen it in her face. I've seen it in her fucking voice. That lady's scared. Which I like. That's good. I hope she's scared because there are going to be consequences for her actions someday.
she
Eventually.
said it as if he
hopefully,
acted alone.
Yes.
For my sanity.
And Epstein was absolutely a monster, but he didn't act alone. And I think that we now have more evidence of that from what we've seen in the files. And what is really difficult for me to wrap my head around is I met Epstein and Maxwell when I was 21. I'm almost 53 now. And I was just raised differently. I was raised to respect our government. I was raised to be able to speak to people of different political parties, and maybe I don't always agree with them, but their insights help me shape my opinions. And I just don't see that happening. And that's what I grew up in. That's the America that I grew up in. And for us to now feel like the Department of Justice, which is in charge of seeking justice for all Americans who are victims of crime, they've just completely let us down. And so to hear her say, if you have been a victim of crime, we want you to call the FBI. I called the FBI. And in the release of files, my intake report was released twice. Once with my part of my address, and once where my name was unredacted several times, including in a sentence that said, Stein was a victim of Epstein and Maxwell in the mid-90s. So, I find it really difficult to have any faith when we are constantly, being manipulated and downplayed by our government. We've heard several times our government say, we're moving on from this, and that just enrages me.
Yeah.
This has been 3 decades of my life. We'd all love to move on with this, but how do you move on if you don't have justice? And the Department of Justice's job is to seek justice. And they, for some reason, don't feel like they have to. And that's just incomprehensible.
You and I have talked before. I see a lot of emotion in your face.
Yeah.
This is all coming back up again for you.
Survivors of sexual assault, we are chastised so frequently. Why didn't you tell? Why didn't you fight back? All of these questions. And here we're seeing survivors have been telling, and they have been speaking out, starting 3 decades ago when Maria Farmer first reported this crime to the FBI. And over and over and over and over again, different branches of our Justice Department and, law enforcement that should have protected us haven't. It's like this massive institutional failure that we don't want to address. And it's not just us anymore. It's not just about the Epstein case. It's about survivors everywhere. They're watching us, victims of crime everywhere. This is something that people already don't talk about, and that's why it persists. And so now we're going to expect victims who are watching us be treated this way.
Yeah, I thought the Republican Party was the party of law and order and going after criminals. Here's the criminals. They're amongst you. It's time to go after them. Nobody cares about the Democrats. If you get some Democratic monsters while you're at it, go for it. But you can't protect your side. This isn't red team versus blue team time. This is indict and throw criminals in jail time. I don't know. It's wild that we don't have a functioning Department of Justice. Like, not even functioning at the most basic fucking level.
We're going to expect them to talk about what's happened to them. That's a hard ask. But we have a chance to change the conversation and change the narrative and say, you know what? These things happen because we don't talk about them. And that's why we need to, no matter how hard it is. We need to sit with how uncomfortable this is as a nation. Because it's the only way to get past it.
Maria, did you feel that discomfort in the room today?
You know, I got to be honest with you. It was definitely a lot of discomfort, but I think we were, you know, I don't know if I should say, like, I was a little embarrassed to see that she couldn't say sorry to us, because she sat there in the beginning, she said sorry for what Jeffrey Epstein did to us, but yet she couldn't apologize what she did to us, what her department did to us, right?
Everybody's embarrassed about it and feeling cringe about it, except for fucking Pam Bondi, because she has no shame. These people have no shame. They don't feel that thing that we all feel when we do something wrong, for some reason. I don't know.
It's like you had one job, was to redact our names, to respect our privacy, but yet you carefully took the time to redact all these powerful, rich men. So, you know, it's like, is it your department that can't keep up with, you know, are you guys being sloppy? You know, what's going on here? It's what we wonder every day. Where did it go wrong? And then I think we all realize now, oh, you guys really wanted to silence us.
It's on purpose.
And you thought that you could scare us by putting our names out there. And to be honest with you, we've been through worse. This is nothing for us. If anything, this encourages us to speak more and not to be silenced. So we like to set the record here. If there are more files to be released, which we hope that these files that are released, they need to be, you know, the men that are, you know, the perpetrators that we did know about and that are out there now, they need to be investigated, and we cannot fail to do that as as the United States of America. We have other countries that are taking action in this, and we're
failing, and we won't survive it as a nation if we don't fucking deal with this. Like, this is a huge fucking problem. The Epstein shit, how it ties into people in our society and how they control our lives and corporations and moving wealth around and having too much wealth, all this shit, it all ties together. And it is our duty and our generation's problem to fix, unfortunately.
We are doing absolutely nothing, and it is infuriating.
I want to come back to this. Oh, go ahead, Danny.
I do want to say something she did not say much today. I mean, she really evaded every question. She knew how to evade and was just using statistics. I mean, any game that she could play, she was playing. But the one thing that she did say is that there are investigations.
Well, so that's what I want to get into, because some of these prominent individuals, the ones that have been out there,
I'm not
officials have
inclined to
publicly
believe
accused them
her.
of wrongdoing related to Epstein, but the attorney...
Not the survivor. I'm not inclined to believe Pam Bondi when she says there are investigations going on. I guess we'll fucking see. But based on everything she's done so far, I don't see her miraculously turning around and prosecuting all these men that she's been protecting for this long. It would just be a really weird move this late in the game to retreat.
Attorney General did say today, when pressed about the potential for new prosecutions, she says there are pending investigations.
Who, what, where, why, when. We don't have any information, and I would think that they would come to us to get that information.
Yeah, we still haven't talked yet. We haven't even.
Nobody's talked to the DOJ.
Yeah, nobody's talked to any of us.
Show of hands, has anybody had any communication with the DOJ over the course of the last, let's say, 6 months? Do you want to have that communication?
Yes. We've all asked for it.
Does it mean we feel safe?
Yeah.
Does it mean that we think she's going to listen? No. But we deserve the chance as citizens of this country.
She also said, you know, she was talking about anybody can go to the FBI. Any survivor right now can go to the FBI. And then we saw 302s that are full pages of black that even our congressional leaders can't get access to. So we've gone to the FBI. We've done the legwork. We've done everything we know how to do. And then to gaslight the American people and stand up there and say, well, they need to come over. They need to come talk to us. It's like, I don't know what else we have to do. We're here at the hearing. Like, we are doing everything we possibly can. So please tell us what else we need to do.
Yeah. Somebody who I imagine all of you are thinking about, and I'm sure nobody more than the two of you, is Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who has been, in all of our conversations, many of our conversations, the person who you all have said brought together the people she called her survivor sisters. And I wonder, Skye and Amanda, how did you think of Virginia today? In that room, sitting there, I was watching both of you during some of these interactions with the Attorney General. Tell me what was going through your mind.
I was infuriated for her. How much more of a cost do survivors need to pay? Virginia paid the ultimate price for her trauma and the consistent failure of every single system she's been a part of, even in the one in Australia. She was failed over and over and over again. And she'd proven herself in court to be a truth teller. And when that congressman put up a picture of former Prince Andrew, and Pam Bondi refused to acknowledge, and that was the thing about it, every time there was a question about Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, or perpetrators, the contempt you almost see rise in her body, her whole face. I mean, I purposefully turned my body that way and stared at her to see, like, will you turn around and in one moment acknowledge and look at us, okay? Because Virginia was trashed for her allegations. I mean, ripped apart for years. She was a lone survivor. She kept pushing and kept pushing. And in those files, Ghislaine Maxwell gave her her own vindication. We know Virginia named over 40 names in sealed depositions and open depositions. We know a minimum she has named. And yet we still refuse to see them acknowledge or investigate any of those people. And Virginia has proven herself in court over and over and over again. And to sit there again and have this contempt for the questions when the Congress people, I said in my speech today, we're not here for theatrics. And she's like, oh, the theater. And I'm like, yes, you're the main character in this.
The circus act.
Yeah, Pam Bondi during those fucking hearings was like telling people, oh, enough of the theatrics. You were the biggest clown there, sweetheart. You were the one playing the biggest fucking audition for Donald Trump, even though you're already hired by him. Like, it was disgusting, clapping and saying he's the greatest president of all time. Come on, girl. What are you doing up there? You're an embarrassment. You're supposed to be the top lawyer for the American people, not Donald Trump's biggest cheerleader. Her snootiness, her upturned nose, her fake bravado, it was disgusting. It was the biggest show there. It seemed like most of the other people were actually trying to ask real questions and get to the bottom of, what they were trying to do there. You were just playing games. Pam Bondi, I hate you. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was a comedian
Really
today.
well said.
Yes. Everyone was laughing at her.
It was all strategic deflection all day long.
One of the things that she said in response to some of these questions was, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she said, why didn't you ask this of Merrick Garland, obviously the former Attorney General? She referenced other administrations past.
Gee, maybe it was because there was ongoing investigation. Like, I'm not going to defend Merrick Garland. I hate pretty much everything he did, dragging his feet on a lot of things. But there was investigations and appeals going on for Ghislaine Maxwell. So I don't know what you expected them to do when there's active investigations and active court filings going on. I get that it would have been nice if this shit happened, 3 administrations ago. But we're here now, we're in this administration, and they're the ones that are actively covering it up. So I don't know what to tell you about the last one.
How did you hear that?
Nobody's saying that the other administration handled it correctly.
Yes.
We're not standing here saying that this other administration, could have taken other actions. We're saying, yes, they could have, but this is in your hands now.
Mm-hmm.
This is in your hands, and you have an opportunity to step forward and do the right thing. And, it was just, God, just the continued, Danny, you put it perfectly, like the gaslighting. Anytime they would bring up anything relative to Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, she would say, well, because in your district, you don't want to talk about this person. It's like, you have survivors right behind you, She's like, any survivor can come forward and talk to us. Well, first, you don't really have an open door policy. Let's put it that way. Okay. And I think the second part to it is that they already have Virginia named more than 40 names. They're in those files. Why aren't we just going back to those? There's more than enough evidence to present forward. And now she's contradicting herself, specifically to Todd Blanche, because he's saying there's no investigations that are going to be happening. And now she's saying there's investigations. So which one is it? Are you doing investigations or are you not? Like, we need real answers. And I hope that I hope the American people can continue to stand behind us. I hope that they can demand justice, because realistically, this justice needs to happen. But if we need to go the social route too, we should be putting these names up. What boards are they on? What companies do they own?
Hallelujah.
We shouldn't be supporting any of those, and we should go after our social justice and continue to pursue this justice as well.
One of the things the Attorney General also said was that at one point, when asked about the redactions and acknowledging the...
All right, chat, it's time to embrace the cringe and become social justice warriors again.
errors that were made, both over-redacting and under-redacting. She said that the Department of Justice did the best they could, given the time constraints of the Epstein Transparency Act. Do you believe they did the best they could?
That was just another
the best
statement
for themselves.
that said, throughout the entire day, that was something that was said several times, I noticed, by several different congressmen and women, because they want us and the American public to feel that because they were rushed, because they had these time constraints, that this is then the reason why the redactions were not properly made when they should have been guaranteed to be made, and then protected the predators and perpetrators, which should never have happened. So that was just yet again another example of them trying to deflect their responsibility and almost trying to transfer all that shame and accountability to the American public wanting to push the vote through, and even us survivors for wanting to see the Epstein Transparency Act signed.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a form of victim blaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a victim list that was released. It's called Victim List.
Client list.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, and it had a list of...
Yeah, and the only one they redacted was the lawyer's name. Like, that can't be anything but on purpose. How do you read victim list, not redact them? Like, 1 + 1 does not equal 3. I don't know what to tell you.
Of victims.
It was shown, I think, a couple of times.
One was redacted. That makes no sense. This is a list of victims. That's intentional.
One of the things I heard from several of you as the process of advocating for the Epstein Transparency Act was happening was that you felt like, given the bipartisan support from both sides of the aisle, that this was not a political issue.
Yeah.
And I wonder, sitting here today, after hearing what you heard from that hearing with the
It
Attorney
shouldn't
General,
be a political issue, but they've turned it into one.
do you still think that? Do you still think this is not a political issue?
I think the GOP is scared. I think that there's some fear there because we have amazing meetings with congressional leaders. We are in meetings all the time asking for their support, and we've actually some of the best meetings and really compassionate people. And then when it comes time
with
to
Republicans
show up,
and Democrats.
Republicans and Democrats, yes. But I want to speak to the Democrats to the Republicans just for a moment, because in those Republican meetings, we have these beautiful moments with them, and then they're not showing up to stand with us. Like this morning, we had the press conference, and Nancy Mace was the only Republican who showed up, and that was a real shame. We had a great meeting yesterday with the head of the Republican Women's Caucus, and she was incredible, and we had this beautiful conversation, and we really had hoped that she would invite more Republicans to stand with us, because again, I don't know how many times, I'm sure we're all so tired of saying that it's not political for us, right? It is a human issue. We are human beings. We just want to stand together. We just need to make this about survivors as a whole. It's not about Epstein and Maxwell. It's about if you've ever had any sort of sexual assault or any sort of abuse, which 1 in 4 women, and we're not even talking about the men in this country, have experienced this. So it's a huge issue that's so much bigger than this. And all we're asking for is bipartisan support. We've seen people cross the aisle before. The Transparency Act was a beautiful display of that. There was this moment, and I'm sure you guys remember it, Marjorie Taylor Greene sitting with Melanie
she's gone,
Stansbury,
though.
and they sat there together. And
That I don't understand. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't understand why Marjorie Taylor Greene was like, yeah, these people are disgusting pedophiles, and Trump's in the Epstein files, and that's why he doesn't want to release. But anyways, deuces, guys, have fun. The fuck? You could have stayed and used what little power you had for good, but instead you dipped out. Whatever. We got Candace Owens. It's fine.
watch those votes come in. And it was like, thank you. That is what we're talking about. 2 powerful women coming together and just being here to support other women. And we're just not seeing that.
Let me talk about somebody who currently is in prison, and that is Ghislaine Maxwell.
Kind of.
Some of what we heard today and some of what we've heard this week from Ghislaine Maxwell. Teresa, I'm struck. I know you
got a puppy.
said recently that she was in what you described as a prison spa, essentially, a reference to her transfer to a lower security prison camp.
Yes.
The Attorney General referred questions on that to the Bureau of Prisons. And I wonder, as you sit here today, knowing that Ghislaine Maxwell is where she is, what would you say to the Attorney General, to her staff at the Bureau of Prisons, if you could tell them something about that?
Well, that's just a soundbite to say, yet again, another deflection to the Bureau of Prisons, that they had no hand in having her transferred from Florida to from a maximum security to Texas.
So to you, this is an accountability issue. Is that what you're saying?
For her to say, yes, for her to say she didn't know is inherently false. I'm sorry. They know what's happening. They knew it was happening ahead of time. They didn't find out like we found out through the media. They knew it was probably planned for whatever reason, whatever they thought they were going to get out of Ghislaine Maxwell, a known perjurer. I'm not sure, but they knew ahead of time, and they sent her there. And it's one of, I think, the most abhorrent instances of this entire post-conviction of Maxwell case.
Yep. I call it the second sweetheart deal in this case. It's the second sweetheart deal because she is getting a little pat on the wrist and a puppy, right? And Attorney General Bondi would not answer the question, who signed off on this? Who is the person responsible? I have no idea.
Earlier this week on Capitol Hill, we saw Ghislaine Maxwell deposed virtually from prison, and she repeatedly invoked her Fifth Amendment right. Her lawyer said that she is, and I'm going to quote him here, that she is prepared to speak fully and honestly if President Donald Trump were to grant her clemency. Show of hands here. Do you think President Trump should grant her clemency in order for her to speak, as her lawyer says, fully and honestly to investigators? Would you like to see President Trump rule out the possibility of any clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yes.
Show of hands on that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
She used that as a bargaining tool. She's staying silent to try to get something. Again, she's trying to manipulate the system and put out things that gaslight us, manipulate us. It's atrocious. This woman is worse than Jeffrey Epstein. We trusted her. because she's a woman. So it was easier for her to bring us into his orbit. And then she's also in the orbit. So to give her clemency is atrocious.
I mean, I'll push back on that a little bit because Epstein was definitely worse. I mean, Ghislaine, awful, demon, horrible woman, got all these children for him, but he was the one doing the heinous acts and probably things beyond what even this woman knows about. So I would say that he is top demon. Ghislaine Maxwell, it's like 1A and 1B, okay? They're Batman and Robin of demons. Abhorrent goblin people that should rot in prison for the rest of their lives. They're pretty on par. But I get where she's coming from.
That makes no sense, and she's just trying to bargain her way out.
Self-serving.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead. Liz, I'm sorry. I'm looking.
It's okay. It's really concerning to me that we continue to try to give her a platform to come forward and talk about what happened when we have already seen her perjure herself in depositions, lie in her conversation with Todd Blanche, and yet, you know, there's this expectation that she's going to come forward and give all of the keys to what happened here. Why aren't they talking to the victims of the crimes, the people that experienced these crimes? Why are they not talking to us?
Ghislaine Maxwell is useless. Throw her in prison, lock away the fucking door, and throw away the key. Because she there's no use in trying to get anything from her. She's a known liar, and she's only using this to try and get her elite pedophile buddies to do her favors and get her out of trouble. It's a quid pro quo. You do me a favor, I do you a favor. That's what she's into. She's not into telling the truth or getting any of these people in trouble. So fuck her. Fuck Ghislaine Maxwell. And fuck Van Bondi. Fuck them all.
We know what happened, and we're telling the truth. And it's really just infuriating to kind of have this constant back and forth with Maxwell. I think that we need to stop giving her a platform.
Ghislaine Maxwell is never going to say anything that holds any water. So we just need to let the air out and just let her go.
She needs to go back where she belongs.
Yes.
And
That's
what
right.
does it
That's right.
say about our justice system and our legal system that she even has an opportunity to even flirt with clemency or freedom? It is a stain globally, and it sets a standard. We are supposed to be setting the standard for justice and how we treat children and victims in our system. And should she be granted any more clemency and not put back where she belongs, it's a failure, and it is a stain on us. And everywhere in the world is looking at us to do the right thing here.
So what would...
Not anymore. We are not that shining city on the hill. We are not the ones that are going to bring enlightenment values to the world. We are the baddies now. We've gone mask off and admitted that the top people in our society are actually abhorrent demons. We are imperialistic. We don't treat our own citizens right. We're now demonizing immigrants. We are the baddies. We are not to be looked up to. We are not to be emulated. That time is over.
What would your message be to the White House on this? Because to this point, that is on the table. That is not a possibility. The possibility of pardon that the president could give, that has not been ruled out.
Yeah. Put her back where she belongs and close the door.
Yes.
And
Close the door on her. Put her
Lock it.
back in maximum security, not
Yeah,
where
give her
she
more
is.
time.
Yeah.
Give her more time.
Take away the puppy and the cell phones.
One of the things that you reference, Amanda, and I'll ask you and Sky this too, the sort of international, the global spotlight that is on this. And we've seen, you look over in the UK, we've already seen multiple people in the British government resign, come under scrutiny for their relationships with Epstein. And I wonder what you make.
Yeah, you're letting the fucking Brits mog us right now? On justice? Really? The Brits? Come on, man. You're gonna let them bring down the monarchy over Epstein? We can't even fucking take out our president via impeachment? Our senile president that can barely keep his shorts together? God, we're a disgrace. So sad. How far we have fallen. I love this shit.
The way that the landscape is here in the United States related to high-profile people and their ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah. I want to, just real quick, I want to reverse back for a second on Ghislaine, because Ghislaine is part of this international sex trafficking ring. Something that Virginia said, and it always sticks with me, is that Epstein was Pinocchio and she was Geppetto. She was feeding him, basically, and she was an active participant. She was often worse than Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason I say that is to go, and I'll go back to the UK here, is that they are taking more action there than we are here in the United States. To be quite honest with you, the king, I'd commend him. I truly do. I think it's very difficult. He's basically going up against his own brother. I mean that to say that these people, if they were able to commit the most heinous crime out there, what else could they have committed? Why aren't we following the money? Why aren't we taking? Should be opening the investigations, and we should be subpoenaing their flight records. They should be subpoenaing their bank account records and start combing through those, and let's see what's there, because I think if you follow the money trail, you're going to find some other things that they were much capable of if they were capable of doing these other things.
What are we doing as Americans? Because we need to take this a little bit more serious. Somebody has done this to a person who is no longer here with us. Right? There is proof. And it only means what? He's going to wake up one day. And then I mean to this for all the perpetrators that have come out and, you know, and like, you know, Sky said, we need to follow the money. We need to get their bank accounts. We need to get their flight logs. Why? Because us and these other survivors that are Jane Does are not the only ones. There are many more out there that we do not know about. And I got to be honest with you, these perpetrators don't wake up one day and they're like, okay, well, I'm going to stop being, I'm going to stop liking children. I'm going to stop being a rapist. It does not work like that. It does not work like that. It's the same way when we talk about Ghislaine. When she walks away 20 years from now, if she's still alive, what do we think she's going to do? Become a teacher?
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe her and Pam Bondi will be partners. No, it's like, guys, these people are not going to stop. We need to stop them. So I just wonder, will the DOJ or who will start the investigation? And like Sky said, we need to pull out these records and find out more.
I want to ask you, as we're getting close to the end of our time here together, about what's next. But before I do, I just want to go back as we talk about now former Prince Andrew. There was that now infamous photograph of Virginia that was decried as potentially doctored. Years ago, it was described by Ghislaine Maxwell herself as fake at one point. But now we've seen in this Epstein file release an email in which she appears to refer to this photograph as legitimate here. A photograph that I know, and we've talked about, tormented your family for some time.
What a day of vindication. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to say how much of a truth teller she's been, and the consistency in her story has never changed. And when you go through these files and you hear the testimony of Andrew, you hear the testimony of Ghislaine, the story is always changing. Oh, maybe it was a fake. Oh, I don't recall taking that photo or being there. And then Ghislaine verifies in the email, yeah, oh yes, I did in fact introduce her to Andrew. And so again, you're just seeing this same repetition, the lies, and the one person, and it always pulls me back to what she says, especially when it comes to Andrew, is he knows what happened, I know what happened, and only one of us is telling the truth here, and I know that's me. That is the kind of conviction that she powered through this with the truth and conviction in her story. Before we end this, I want to say, yesterday we got to announce Virginia's law. And it was a dream of hers to reform the statute of limitations. And we're here, we're seeing that. Less than a year of her passing.
That's good.
And I want to end that on a good note, because I think the American people need to see that with all this grief and all this pain, like, real change can happen. We have the power to do that. And so we're going to continuously fight, because Virginia deserves it. They deserve it. And every single survivor who has been silenced deserve it. So we can't wait to see Virginia's law pass.
her dream was to eliminate the statute of limitations to affect real change on a global and on a national level. I mean, this was to protect her survivor sisters. This is to protect future survivors and our next generation. We get to go home to our daughters and our children and say, hey, we're fighting the bad guys. We're doing it and eliminating this. In some states, the statute.
We fucking better. I don't know how the next generation is going to do anything in this country. There won't be a country if we don't deal with this issue.
Statute of limitations as little as 3 years. It takes survivors, it takes victims into their 30s and 40s, and when they are moms and they finally get this power to come forward so bravely, it takes a long time. And the statute of limitations needs to be completely eliminated to give survivors grace. And Virginia, that was her dream. And I truly hope that that can be. Again, this isn't a political issue anymore. This is on a human level. I hope Republicans and Democrats and all alike, we will talk to you. We will come. Tell me the date, time, and I will be there. And we can have a conversation about this and why it's so important. Come see us face to face. This is something that we can do to set a new standard moving forward so we can teach our generation and the next generation,
All of you have shown up. All of you have shown up again here today. And so as we close here, let me ask you this. Sitting in that room, being at that hearing, with a show of hands, do you trust the Department of Justice to pursue justice now for you? None of you.
I think they're going to have to learn what that is first.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So what do you want to see next?
So sad.
Actions meant to justice.
I want to just see women be believed. You use that word torment, and I think about Virginia, but I think about Maria Farmer, and that we have that 1996, the first half of the report. I don't know that anybody's found the second half of that report yet, and so we owe it to the survivors who came before us. We owe it to the girls and young folks in this country of the future. Changing statute is a huge leap forward, but also believing women first and foremost, or just believing anybody who is telling you that abuse has occurred and giving people a safer space to come forward that is more trauma informed is so crucial here.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for being with us. Thank you for sharing your perspective on everything that has unfolded over on Capitol Hill. And I know that this will not be the last time that we talk. Thank you all very much.
Well, that's some heavy shit. Let's see if I can blow me up real big. That's what we're here to see, right? Me? His face? Yeah, that's some heavy shit, man. Between all the Epstein stuff that's going on right now, the potential election fraud that's going to happen, and everything else, it's crazy. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel have completely failed us. They need to be impeached immediately. The president needs to be impeached immediately if we're going to have any hope of fixing all of this bullshit. But they're killing people in the streets as well, and harassing people for having brown skin and not speaking English. Apparently that is illegal now. It's disgusting. We need to have a reckoning in this country, and I need people to get into the streets, please. More people. Because I've been out there and it's been fine, it's been good, but there needs to be more people, for sure, that are against this and are showing up and putting their face out there. Especially people that look like me, that are, cis, straight passing, white men, because we have a bunch of privilege and we can stand out there on the corner and not get harassed as bad as some of our fellow citizens that may be not able to show up to a protest. So if you're able to get out there, I am not going to play any Bloodborne tonight because it's 11:19 here. I got to be up for work at 7 a.m. So I'm going to call it a night for tonight, and we will probably play some Bloodborne tomorrow night. I'll do a back-to-back stream even to make up for not playing tonight. And we'll have some more stuff to go over tomorrow as well. So thanks everybody for showing up, and other than that, I'm going to dip out. But you can listen to some cool tunes while I finish the stream. Love y'all. Peace.
When you hear the groove, you better start to move. hear the groove, you better start to move. Come on now, yeah, yeah. If I ask for one, you better give me two. Come on now, yeah, yeah. If you know what's up, you better fill my cup. Come on now, yeah, yeah. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. Star-studded in the liquid, people. Started something that'll never stop. This place can't hold more people. Gonna run until the music drops. You don't know what to be, so leave your mind to be free. Yeah, yeah. When you hear the groove, you better start to move. Come on now, yeah, yeah. If I ask for one, you better give me two. Come on now, yeah, yeah. If you know what's up, you better fill my cup. Come on now, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. When you hear the groove, you better start to move. Come on now, yeah, yeah. If I ask for one, you better give me two. Come on now, yeah, yeah. If you know what's up, you better fill my cup. Come on now, yeah, yeah. Whoa,
Alright, kids, are you ready for that new funky sound? So everywhere across the nation, get with this bass and let loose the new sound from Azariah.